Hey, who should start this? I reckon it's me.
I want to do it.
I'm happy for you to do it.
All right. Well, we're just letting you know the Melbourne International Comedy Festival is on right now.
2025.
Okay. And I'm opening on the 8th of April. 2 weeks of shows only, 12 nights. So pumped. Bad boy. And then I'm also doing the Perth Comedy Festival. Dave, you're also going to be in Sydney.
Yes, that's right, in May.
What a time it is. Anyway, let's get on with the show.
I was here too the whole time.
If you're a parent or share a fridge with someone, Instacart is about to make grocery shopping so much easier. Because with family carts, you can share a cart with your partner and each add the items you want. Since between the two of you, odds are you'll both remember everything you need. And this way, you'll never have to eat milkless cereal again. So minimize the stress of the weekly shop with family carts. Download the Instacart app and get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes. Plus, enjoy $0 delivery fees on your first 3 orders. Service fees apply for 3 orders in 14 days. Excludes restaurants.
Hey, Prime members, are you tired of ads interfering with your favorite podcasts? Good news. With Amazon Music, you have access to the largest catalog of ad-free top podcasts included with your Prime membership. To start listening, download the Amazon Music app for free or go to amazon.com/ad-free podcasts. That's amazon.com/ad-free podcasts to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Do Go On. My name is Dave Warnocky, and as always, I'm here with Jess Perkins and Matt Stewart.
Hello.
Hello, Dave. So good to be here with you and also with Jess. Hey, Jess, quick question. How good is it to be alive?
Personally, I wish I was never born.
Oh.
Really? But what if I was to say that you are sitting next to our guest, Jackson Baly?
Oh, when the fuck did he get here?
Yeah.
Whoa.
He popped up Dickie Knee style.
I am a Dickie Knee style puppet, yeah. If anybody is, I am.
If you had a blue hat on and turned around,
I would look a lot like Dickie Knee.
Can you refer to Dave as Mr. Summers?
Mr. Summers, Mr. Summers.
Mr. Summers, Mr. Summers.
Yeah. There's references that will be understood by, I think, nearly
A
everyone.
vital part of, at least, of your listening audience.
big in Brazil.
Yeah.
Both Australians older than us, your age or older.
Yeah,
You'd be the youngest people who would know who Dickie Knee is.
Yeah.
And also, the rest of the world, obviously. Also big
of
fan.
course. He's the number one export from Australia.
He's
Dickie Knee.
huge.
Rest in peace, John Blackman. It's
true.
Dickie Knee died recently.
Well, puppet can never really die.
Oh, that's true, because it lives in our hearts.
Yeah, and Kermit the Frog's,
True.
puppeteer died, and he's still kicking.
That's
He's
very
still living
true.
large.
Geez, puppets have no loyalty, do they?
They truly
Don't
don't.
let anyone put their hand
They're the
up.
Labradors of
Kermit should have died when Jim Henson did.
Yeah,
Okay.
buried him with him.
Yeah, exactly.
Every puppet should have just been thrown in the ground.
Like the slaves in a pharaoh's tomb.
buried together.
That's what should have happened to the Muppets. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, geez, that was close. That was close to you getting a barrage of email.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to avoid. Tell you what.
So, Jackson, we really, really appreciate you clearing time on your busy schedule, because these days you're not just a podcaster. You're also a board game maker.
That's true. I made a board game, which you can back on Kickstarter right now. In the tail ends of the Kickstarter. There's going to be like 3 days left.
And it's
Get in now.
And it's guaranteed your money will be accepted, because you're going to make the thing, because you've eclipsed your goal.
Yeah, insanely. We were like, we just, it was like $25,000 or something. We're like, that's what we need to get the board game out, to actually manufacture it. And I don't know, at time of recording, we're at like 70 something. It's absurd.
Incredible.
It's absurd.
Are you going to be able to do the gold pieces?
Yeah,
solid
gold pieces
for everyone.
And some people were like, hey, maybe just to actually make it more achievable, don't do that. And you were like, fuck you.
I was like, fuck you, go to hell.
Yeah, this is the integrity of the game.
I respect the backers of the Kickstarter too much
Yeah.
to rob them of solid gold pieces,
Yeah.
No, it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. The board game that I've been developing with Joel Zammit and Adam Carnevale for the last 7 years.
That's crazy.
Finally has come to fruition.
It's here.
God, I hope it's good.
Tell us a bit about the game.
So it's basically you make a board out of tiles, and that's a city. And
So you were going back to the this is how you make the game. No, okay. In the game,
you get some cardboard, you cut it. No, so there's
board games are famously, they sound so convoluted.
Oh, I know.
when
Having to
talking-
explain the board games is never good.
We'll let you have you go. Sorry.
Okay, I'll try. So there's a city, okay? And the city's made up of tiles. And you play as various people in the city, and you have to complete various quests within the city by picking up NPCs or items. And the quests that you're all trying to complete, you all share and you're all competing against. And basically, at the beginning of every round, you pre-program your moves without anybody else seeing what you're planning to do.
Okay.
And then one by one, you go around in a circle and you go, oh, I'm moving forward and picking up this sword. And someone says, well, I'm going to this place and stealing the sword from you. And slowly over the course of a day, you find out how much you fucked over your friends and how much your friends have fucked over you.
I was loving it. But you lost me at NPC. I don't do that walk shit.
Fair enough.
I don't do that walk shit.
It was a pretty good one, and I didn't get it out.
I don't do that walk shit. Me and Stuart, none of that walk shit.
No, I don't do any of that walk.
Keep that walk shit off my podcast.
It's NPC culture gone mad.
Go walk, go walk.
He's always said that, Jackson.
Yeah, that makes sense to
That's
me.
his
I
tramp
believe
stamp.
that.
It does sound really fun.
Well, it's great. I mean, we tried to make a game, you know, like when you're playing a board game with friends and it gets really frustrating, but in a fun way.
Yeah.
That's what the game's about.
Okay, great.
That moment where somebody does something and you're like, you gigantic bitch, I hope you're going to have that feeling. And then when you do that to someone else and you're like, suck a million shit.
Draw four?
Shit,
Well, how about
idiot.
you draw 8?
Yeah, exactly. It's the draw 4, draw 8 moment distilled into a board game.
Oh, you think you got me?
Yeah.
Oh, look at you all smug over there. I think not.
Yeah.
Draw 12.
Oh, crap.
Take that, you walk bitch.
And it's also a board game where we were like, we want people to kind of break it. So like we added a thing, it was unlocked in the Kickstarter recently, which is an item that has the ability of any effect that is affecting you can deflect to another player.
Oh, I love
and
that.
Zamet was like, well, he put that in basically as a counter because there's another item that makes someone fail a roll. So he's like, oh, somebody uses that on you, you counter that with the mirror. And I was like, no, but the way it's worded... Any effect. Winning is an effect, Zamet. Dying is an effect. Moving is an effect. And he was like, we just got to leave it up to the table. How to determine how to use that item.
Yeah, I win. Well, mirror.
Yeah, mirror. I win, actually. It's that kind of game.
That's awesome.
So, so it's really fun. I mean, I've played it hundreds and hundreds of times in the development period, and still every time I play it, I have a good time.
And
so,
the 3 of you that made us still friends. So that's
still friends, exactly.
That bodes very well.
Even though Joel Zamet, because he's one of those guys that's just got a board game brain. So if you play a board game with him, you're like, well, it's a race to second, I guess.
Yeah.
He will win. So even playing with him, we're still friends at the end of it, which is impressive. So yeah, hey, please check it out. Go to Kickstarter, search Jaren's Outpost. That's JARRENS Outpost. And find it, back it, and play it.
Because at the time, so we're going to put a link in the show notes as well. Make it super easy. At the time of the release of this episode, you've only got a couple of days left.
Like 2 or 3 days left before it's done for good.
Is it some sort of like, is it like some of the rewards are like, get them now or you will miss out?
I don't know if there
is
are
any.
Well,
what's the urgency otherwise?
He's right. Well, the urgency is that you'll miss out. You won't get it, I guess.
Oh, you won't get it at all.
You won't get it at all.
Well, that is, I think, a buy now. Yeah.
Yeah, we have no retail, no car. I mean, like, ideally in the future, we'd love to have a retail version that we could give to Games Workshops or whatever.
Yeah.
But currently, you'll only get it through the Kickstarter. So
and once that ends, it's locked off, and whoever backed it gets it. And if you missed out, you missed out. So get on it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, please get on it. Please, if you buy it, then you made the last 7 years worthwhile for me.
Whoa.
If that's the only reason you're doing it, that's still good. You know,
it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. It's the right amount.
It's the kind of thing, it's like, whoa, that's a lot of money you've raised, but yeah, I imagine you don't want to break it down by hours of work put in.
Yeah, exactly. And then the costs in like manufacture and shipping and all of that stuff. It's it's an expensive endeavor. So yeah, please back the Kickstarter.
Must be so surreal to like have been thinking about this and working on this for such a long time, and now being like, oh, it's done. This is going to be out in people's homes.
Yeah, somebody was messaging us and they were like, I bought it for my like board game club that I run,
yeah.
so that I can just bring it in and play it with a bunch of people. And that's another thing. Adam was saying this the other day. He's like, oh, there's at the time say 400 backers, and it's like, oh, it's 400 people playing the game, and someone was like, well, no, because it's like a 4 to 5 player game, 2 to 5 player game. It's way more than just the 400. It's like, oh my god. And also being able to be like, oh, I can say I'm a podcaster and a board game developer.
Yeah.
That's like a title I just can have now legitimately. Feels crazy.
Very cool.
Feels very crazy. Yeah. Very exciting.
It's the dream, isn't it? Everyone wants to be a board game developer.
Everybody wants to
but
do
now
it.
you can actually say it.
I legitimately am.
Yeah.
Everyone else pretending.
Yeah, I pretend.
I mean, I've got it on my LinkedIn, obviously, but
Of course.
but fuck, I hope nobody actually asked me.
No follow-up question.
I did not
So
have a
it's
resume.
tiles. There's tiles and you make a city.
Yeah.
That's one of my games.
Yeah. You roll some dice.
Yeah.
There's a mirror.
There's a mirror.
Yeah.
The mirror special.
There are take-backsies in this one. I know some games will have no take-backsies.
Yeah,
This
this
My
one
one
game's
does.
called Take Backsies. So
You can take the butcher back in this one.
Yeah.
anyway, I have to go. My phone's ringing. I simply must go.
Hello, Parker Brothers.
Yeah, it's a no still. I'm sorry. Sorry about this. These brothers will not let me.
Hounding me.
Yeah. Oh, Milton's on the other line.
They've upped their bid again.
Yeah, they say I've got the next
45
monopoly.
million now.
Yeah.
No, I won't sell for anything less than 50 million. Get back to me.
So you're about to add a new title to your LinkedIn, and that is "Do Go On Report Writer Jackson," which is
That's
so
true.
exciting.
Wait, is this your first report?
This is my first report.
You've
I'm very
been
excited
on
to do
a
it.
couple episodes?
Yeah. I've come on and I've listened to reports,
Oh,
but I
okay.
had this one locked and loaded for so long. I'm very excited to finally be able to bring it to you guys. It's a good
Amazing.
one.
So very excited about that. Just to explain how the show works for anyone who might be listening for the first time.
Anyone from the Jaren Massive who's
Yeah,
come
exactly.
Yeah, well, can we just say welcome?
in. Yeah.
Shout out to the
The Jaren
Jarheads.
Massive.
Yeah.
That's good.
Where do go on? So nice to meet you. How this show works is one of the three of us, or a guest, goes away, researches the topic, brings it back to the class, tells us all about it. We know nothing about it, so we just sit politely. We don't interrupt. We don't go on dog shit riffs. Not at all.
Never.
Okay.
And we usually get onto the topic with a question as well. Do you have a question to get us onto the topic, Jackson?
Well, I want to start at the end.
Love
okay,
that.
can I do that?
Beautiful
Can I start-
storytelling, of course.
Hey, you might
Thank
be
you.
wondering how we all got here.
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay, so it's October 6th, 1962.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Slick is in his Beechcraft Bonanza 35 airplane, and he's traveling from a hunting trip in Canada to visit his family in Salt Lake City. The Beechcraft Bonanza, just as an aside, is the same plane that went down and killed the Big Bopper, Buddy Holly, and Richie Valens.
The day the
What?
music died.
That was episode 10. Dave told that story
And
briefly.
that's where I got the nickname Bop.
Whoa.
It's true.
All of a sudden, Tom Slick's aircraft,
Tom Slick, by the way. Fantastic
Tom
name.
Slick,
Incredible
incredible name,
Already on board.
allegedly disintegrates and crashes into the mountains near the town of Dell in Montana, killing both Tom Slick and his pilot, Shelley Sudworth. No one knows exactly what went wrong. Nobody knows, how this happened, how they crashed. There are three theories. One is inclement weather, because it was raining at the time and there were some storms in the area, but Tom Slick had gone through worse, and we'll talk about that. The second one is that, the Beechcraft was a terrible, terrible airplane. It had killed the Big Bob.
With a fantastic name. Are you kidding me?
Incredible
If I
name.
could choose what plane I'm buying a
Beechcraft
Beechcraft
Bonanza.
Bonanza.
35.
Even after everything you've heard.
Well, hilariously, there was a study in 1970 where some people did like a stock take or whatever, or basically like a study on the safety of the commercially available airlines, and they were like 70% of the planes being manufactured right now will crash. Was
Whoa.
the takeaway?
70%.
So the second theory is that he was just flying a plane that was likely to disintegrate, and the third theory is that there was a bomb on board
Ooh.
and they blew him up.
Okay. Always love
Because he knew too much?
option number 3.
Well, we'll get to that. But so my question is, who killed Tom Slick?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, and they're the options.
They're the current options, yeah. And maybe
I
you'll have
reckon-
at the end of this report, you'll have a better
I'm
understanding
going to
and
say
you'll have a good answer.
the manufacturers of the beach coma.
Yeah. It was a bad plane. And
Beechcraft Bonanza.
I could only find
So
one
good.
newspaper article, which was from the Miami Herald, I think it was, and they're the ones that say it disintegrated in midair. So I couldn't find it anywhere else. Everyone else just said he crashed, but that one said disintegrated in midair.
Was it literally a paper plane?
Maybe somebody had thrown it from Canada.
Hey, come on. Cardboard.
Oh, true.
Okay.
Bit more sturdy, thanks.
And in the rain, you know,
Yeah.
it's going to crumble apart.
Credit where it's due. Wasn't
Yeah.
just an A4 piece of paper,
Yeah,
right?
that's right. That cardboard's pretty light too, so that's aerodynamic.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, for sure.
That's my. I'm going to say bomb.
I'm also saying bomb.
Okay.
I think just only based on who we're talking to here, in my mind, probably Australia's premier cryptozoologist.
Thank you. I like to think that's...
maybe amateur cryptozoologist.
Yeah. I would say so.
You don't mess with the pros.
No. Too rich for my
You
blood.
didn't get the uni degree in cryptozoology. But I'm thinking some sort of a cryptid. I'm thinking we've already done an episode about Bigfoot, so I hope it's not Bigfoot.
Well,
But I'm going to guess
yeah.
some sort of mythical creature
Okay.
somehow.
We reached up and grabbed the plane and
tore him
smushed
down
it.
from Canada.
Yeah, something like that.
Well,
because Canada is Bigfoot country like
yeah,
that.
it's all Bigfoot country.
Canada's Bigfoot country is hectic.
the-
That's a big country.
From Mexico to from the bottom of South America to the top of
Yeah.
north of Canada. It's all Bigfoot country.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, so let's talk about Tom
He's got
Slick.
a big footprint, doesn't he?
He has a huge footprint, a worldwide footprint, honestly. So to talk about Tom Slick Jr., which is the man who died in the airplane, first we need to talk about Tom Slick Sr., okay?
Fantastic.
Yes.
Tom Slick's dad. And a weird thing that comes up in this story a lot is a lot of people with the same name and it's Senior and Junior. There's
Okay.
like 3 instances of that.
Yeah.
People were just doing that in the 30s. So
People don't do that as much now.
we don't, and I think being Junior's cool.
Yeah.
I think it's still like to me. It's always felt like an American thing.
Yeah, I think it is.
And the third.
I
Yeah.
say that I've got several cousins that are juniors.
Oh, really?
And one of them is the third.
That's awesome.
And what do
Yeah.
they get called? Junior or a new name completely?
Like
Like a middle name or
Yeah.
something?
yeah, I guess they must. You know what? So I've got an Uncle Ted and his son Ted.
Yeah.
But for most of Ted Jr.'s life, we called him Teddy.
I
That was the
see.
difference. But now you just
Little
say
Ted.
Ted.
Yeah.
Little Ted and Big Ted.
Yeah.
And then there's Philip the third.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Philip the third.
That's
I know.
awesome. I would like to be a junior. And if I was a junior, I'd want to be called Junior. I think
Yeah,
that's cool. I think I'm
absolutely.
into that. So Tom Slick Sr., he was an oil man in the first part of the 20th
made of
century.
oil.
Made of exactly. He was some kind of horrible oil being.
Is this nominative determinism? Oil slick?
Slick!
He was slick first.
Oh my gosh.
So it is.
Yes.
So he
Whoa.
worked initially for a company called Spurlock Petroleum. Sort of successful. He did okay. But after falling out to some bad blood, he joined another company called Schaefer and Smathers.
That's so good.
Now, when he worked for Schaefer and Smathers, what his job was basically is he was like a lease man. So he would go to places where people thought there was oil. He would search for the oil and then he would like lease it to other people. He had a run of bad digs, basically in a row, 10 failed drills.
Oh, boy.
And it was so bad that he started to get a nickname. People called Tom Slick Sr. Dry Hole Tom.
Dave, you've had a few unsuccessful drills.
Come
Yeah.
on, they call me Wet Hole Dave. Come on.
Dry Hole Slick as well, sometimes people call it.
Dry Hole Slick.
Dry Hole Slick.
Okay, who
That's
wants
so
it in the group
good.
chat? I'm changing someone's name to Dry
That's
Hole
Dave
Slick.
for
Yeah,
sure.
I'll be Dry Hole Slick.
So he's making no money. He as an oil man, as a lease man, he's doing terribly, badly enough that he's got a nickname based on how bad it is. So he needs to make some money. He leases a farm owned by a man named Frank Wheeler, and Wheeler was leasing basically sections of his farmland for $1 an acre. He goes dry holes again. Dry hole slick, true to form.
Of course, there's nothing
Dry
there.
hole after dry hole. All of his investors start pulling out because they're like, "Why would I
Pulling out
back?
the dry hole.
Why would I back dry hole
Oh,
slick,
that's
dude?"
painful.
Do it slowly, please. Yeah.
March 12th, 1912, he strikes oil.
Dry hole?
A gigantic gas deposit that produced, when it was pumping, 400 barrels per day.
Whoa.
He tries to keep it a secret because obviously that means that there's oil on this farmland. And if a bunch of other oil men find out, they're going to come in and they're going to stake claims and he's not going to be able to sort of like process all of the oil. He does his best, but eventually word does get out. But when people arrive, they discover that all of the lawyers in town and all of the other leasemen in town have had paid vacations that Tom Slick Sr., Dryhole Tom, has paid for so that they'll be out of the town when the people arrive. Secondly, they find that all the horses and carts and buggies in town have also been bought out and sent away.
They're also on holiday.
They're also on holiday. So
Horse
Dryhole
holiday.
Slick, he was thinking ahead.
Wow.
And he basically paid off the town so that nobody could steal his fortune.
And then he just paid actors to work at the hotel. Sorry, there's no rooms
yeah,
available.
too bad. Yeah. So
Wow.
he made a fortune of this. Tom Slick Sr.
And is he still being called Dryhole?
Well, no. See, because he was so successful, he got a brand new nickname. They started calling him Tom, King of the Wildcatters.
Oh, that's different, isn't it? That's a different nickname to Dry Hole.
It's much cooler.
King of the
Wildcatters being
Wildcatters.
oil prospect.
Now, will you be changing my name in the group chat?
No, I've already changed it to Dry Hole Slick, and it can't be changed more than once in a day.
Yeah.
That's
Somebody else has got to have King of the
That's a
Wildcatters.
mouthful, though, isn't it?
King of the Wildcatters?
Yeah, it's a great nickname, but it's more of a title than a
Yeah,
nickname.
you're not really
Yeah.
saying, hey, King of the Wildcatters, come in here. But you might, when he arrives at the pub, be like, King of the Wildcatters.
Yeah.
Here he is.
Hey, what's the king drinking tonight?
Yeah,
exactly.
the king. Yeah, that's right. He'd be the king pretty quickly, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. So that's Tom Slick's dad. He marries a woman named Berenice Freites, or Freites. I don't really know how to say it.
Incredible names.
She was the eldest daughter of a railroad tycoon,
Wow.
and together they had 3 children: Tom Slick Jr., Betty Slick, and Earl Slick. Now, Tom Slick, I got to find it in. I've got his biography here, the only biography ever written about him.
That's so
But
good.
he's got there's something about his name. Let me see if I can find it. I put
Betty Slick?
Betty Slick, Earl Slick, and Tom Slick.
Oh, I bet he's
Here it
slick.
is. So he was named Thomas Bernard Slick at first, but then, and it was after one of his dad's, Thomas Slick Sr.'s work partners or whatever. But then they had a falling out, and several years later, they changed his middle name to Baker. I don't think you can. It's scary to think your parents have that much control over your name that late into your
They
life.
come back and then just punish someone to be like, you know what? I don't like you anymore.
Yeah.
Tom, we're changing your name.
Yeah, exactly.
Changing your middle name.
Changing your middle name. Kind of who cares at that point?
Bernard you would not have mentioned it.
Yeah,
if
exactly.
they never changed it, you wouldn't have mentioned
Wouldn't
it.
have brought up. You'd just
now
been Tom
Bernard's
Slick.
being honoured here on this prestigious podcast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, 1930, Tom Slick Sr. dies of a stroke. He dies quite young, too. I think he's in his late 40s. And his wife immediately remarries his business partner, or one of his business partners, a man named Charles Urschel.
So we're thinking they knocked him off.
Well, who knows? Who can say what happened to Tom Slick Sr.?
I'm wondering if you can.
No one no,
I think I certainly can't.
I think the implication sort of was that, not that he was okay with it, but maybe he was like, if you've got to marry someone after I die, marry my business partner,
Right.
Thomas Urschel, Charles Urschel, sorry, who, I'm very fond of. I think it was all okay.
Yes.
That's my understanding.
Oh, that's good.
So-
But he's already, he died of a stroke, but he was already thinking after I
I think
die.
he was unwell. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So Urschel's claim to fame is that in around the same time that a couple of years just after he married Berenice, he was kidnapped by a local gangster named Machine Gun Kelly.
Oh.
Machine Gun Kelly, so he was just a regular, normal gangster, right? Like a 2-bit gangster. But then his wife, Catherine Thorne, was like, you got to be something more than just a thug. So she bought him the machine gun, encouraged him to rob banks, and started spreading around the name Machine Gun Kelly.
Behind every good strong man.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean?
And that's Megan Fox, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's crazy. Machine Gun Kelly, the rapper, took his name from this gangster who kidnapped Tom Slick's stepdad in the past.
That is crazy.
That's great.
What
Why
are
are we
the
not
odds of
talking
that?
about this, dude? So Urschel, he's held for ransom by Machine Gun Kelly. Eventually, he is released for $200,000, which was $4.25 million in the 1930s. A huge
lot of
amount. But you got to
cash.
remember, this family was, Mondo big bucks rich.
Yeah.
They had the money. Herschel had memorized every sound while he was kidnapped, and he paid attention to all the tiny cues so that he could inform
so
the
good.
police as to where he'd been kidnapped. And so they
Memorizing the sounds, though. And then there was the thing that went like this.
Yeah.
And when he'd throw
Yes,
his
the
keys
old world.
down when he got home, it would sort of be like a... No, that's not quite right. I know what I hear.
They bring in like 50 cents a keys. He goes, no.
That's not them. That's not them. I know those keys.
Those are his keys.
I know those keys.
Whatever house they unlock, that's where he is. So the FBI found Machine Gun Kelly, and allegedly, you know, the sort of nickname that a government stooge will have as a G-man, you know that? That's allegedly that came from Machine Gun Kelly, because he was found without his famous machine gun when the FBI knocked down his door and he said, "Don't shoot, G-man, don't shoot." And they arrested him.
Wow.
Apparently as well, I wish I could remember what. So he went to jail, and he died in jail, but he wasn't executed. He just died in jail. But in jail, everybody hated him so much that they changed his nickname from Machine Gun Kelly to Pop Gun Kelly, because he annoyed everybody in jail.
That's fun. I don't know if I know the term G-man. What's that from?
It's I looked it up. It's G. It comes from like a specific kind of police force. It started with G. I forget what it was, and then somehow it kind of morphed into being like FBI agents. But it also, this is maybe apocryphal that it came from Machine Gun Kelly. It's just one of the many theories.
Right.
Sorry, Pop Gun Kelly.
Pop Gun Kelly. Excuse me.
What a burn.
Knee machine.
So during this time, Tom Slick Jr. was a teenager. We should probably talk about Tom Slick Jr. because he's the man of the hour.
Sure.
So he was a playboy, adventurer, cowboy.
Whoa!
The big three.
My ears are ringing. Is that the same? Burning. Sorry, got a cold. I do have tinnitus, so.
Your ears are ringing.
Yeah.
So he would apparently like traipse around the university that he went to in like a floor-length duster coat and cowboy hat. He apparently always had like beautiful women on his arms. He was friends with Hugh Hefner. He was like kind of that old school millionaire, billionaire cool. He, during his time in his early like 20s, he sort of founded a lot of different organizations, many of which still exist today. There are a lot of like biomedical companies. And
he was like born a billionaire.
Yeah, he was born a
thing.
billionaire. Yeah. Absolutely. He inherited so much of his father's fortune. So some of the organizations were biomedical. He also had an organization called Slick Airways, which was a cargo plane sort of like running operation that went over the Himalayas.
That's a cool name, isn't it? Slick Airways.
Yeah. He did that with his brother Earl.
Slick.
Yeah, flying with Slick.
Yeah, I'm flying with Slick.
I got some Slick miles.
Taking a Slick Express.
But like you said, oil slick as well. That's like, you don't want your plane leaking oil.
That's true. He also organized the Mind Science Institute, which was a psychic research foundation trying to prove telepathy in the 1940s. He also he bred his own form of cattle called Brangus cattle, which is a combination of Brahmin and Angus.
That's a beautiful combination.
I just love
Can I have a look at it?
Brangus.
Do you mind if I have a quick...
Please look up Brangus cattle, but that's not going to spoil
anything. You might not know
anything.
this about me, and something you need to know about me, Jackson, is I love a bovine.
I like that I need to know that about you.
That's something
it's going to help our friendship.
You simply must know. I love a thick animal.
I look up the Brangus. It's a beautiful cow. Yeah, it's really good.
Oh,
look at it, dude.
Oh my goodness!
It's
show us the Brangus.
Apparently, part of what makes the Brangus good is that it's born without horns. That's like something they wanted to have. You're on the cattle side.
That's a meaty cow.
The Brangus, dude.
Whoa,
that's a thick cow.
Oh yeah. But the most important thing about Tom Slick, and the thing we're going to talk primarily about today, is that he really, really, really wanted to find the Yeti.
Fuck yes.
And that... There it is.
There it is.
He was desperate to find the Yeti in the Himalayas, and he wasted a great deal of old dry hole Tom's fortune in his endeavors.
Wow. So is that specifically why he made that route his route of choice?
Well, no. So apparently that route used to be run by a group called the Flying Tigers during World War II, and they called it going over the hump, which meant over the top of the Himalayas. So it was already a trade route. But then his brother, I think, Earl, whatever his name was like, hey, let's start this cargo company. And he had such a fortune, and he was on the board of so many different companies, and he had so many organizations. He was probably just like, yeah, sure, why not?
Chuck another on the
But also there is an extra wrinkle to his little freight company that we will get to at the end. So let's put a pin in that, because we will return to it.
Tiger, I can't remember whose bit it was, but remember there was some classic, it was like a gala bit where they were talking about how Tiger Airways is such a bad name. It's an animal that can't fly and famously kills people.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. But are there any airways named after birds?
Yeah, I mean, that should
Flamingo
be.
Air.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I flew on Flamingo Air in the Bahamas.
Really?
Whoa.
Yeah, and it was a plane that we had to get on in weight order.
Yeah.
And it was just like one of those tiny
That's
tiny
awesome.
12-seater planes.
I think every time you get on a plane, it's in weight order. Whoever
Yeah.
waits the longest gets on last. Right?
I was up the back.
That is true. Yeah.
Jess's slow, uncomfortable laugh there was really fun. She was like, she was feeling shame.
Yeah.
She was like, I wish I wasn't connected to this guy.
The nod was like it was to you, but it was also so clearly to yourself. Like,
Yeah.
It was self-soothing.
This is what I'm doing.
It's okay. It's all right.
gonna be all right.
You get to go home
Lot
after
of,
this.
lot of swings. Podcasting's all
That's
about
it.
taking
You
swings.
swing.
I think
AJ
it's funny.
edits it out if it's bad.
Yeah, eventually you'll hit. It was funny.
I thought it was funny. I think you're misinterpreting my my face. You're projecting there a little bit. You felt shame about that joke. I was enjoying it.
Yeah. And how did that? What's that? It's like the GIF
Yeah.
of the guy just nodding. You know,
Oh,
the
yeah,
ones
yeah,
that
like
the knowing nod.
Yeah.
Jess was doing like that with a little bit of a slow laugh leaking out as well.
Yeah. It was a nice moment we had.
Yeah, I think we should really GIF your face on that.
Yeah,
Oh,
you should
I'm-
be constantly gifting.
My face is waiting for gifts.
Very GIFable.
Gifting is the future of podcasting,
Yes.
I think. I think we
Yeah.
just need to gif every second of the show.
I think you're right.
Dave hates GIFs, by the way, so
Anti-GIF.
that's why he's not getting involved in this
Yes,
conversation.
no, I was just making sure that it is Flamingo Air, and I'm glad I didn't read this beforehand.
Yeah.
It's got a 1-star review on
Oh,
Google,
no.
the average, so...
Well, you're here now.
Yeah, you made it.
You survived, so
Weight
you know.
order. As soon as I'm getting on a plane and they've put some scales down, I'm like, I'm okay. Don't
Yeah,
worry about
I'll
it.
stay
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
I'll just go back to where
I'll
I
probably
was.
just live here now.
I'll take
fine.
a bus or
That's
something.
okay.
It's okay. Yeah, you don't need to do that.
I don't need to think about that. Thank you. I don't need to see your face after you've read the number, positive or negative. I don't need to see that.
It's just not your business.
It's not the fact that you're like, I don't trust this anymore. It's like, I don't want you to know.
yeah. It's my secret.
I don't want to read your face
Yeah.
looking at the
You go,
number.
whoa,
Yeah, exactly.
where do you put it?
yeah. And I say,
Where do you
thank
put
you
it?
so much. Whoa, you carry that well. Bloody hell, wouldn't have guessed that. Ooh.
Most of mine's under the beard.
Yeah.
I got
It's all chin,
double-digit
really.
chins now. I assume. I haven't seen them.
I
in a
do.
while.
I shaved it all off like a couple of years ago, and it was crazy to be like, "Oh, there it is. There's my multiple chins just
Yeah.
hiding under the beard." I just
I
didn't
did
even
a
know.
few years
I
ago.
jowls. Where
Yeah.
were they 10 years ago? You know, it's crazy.
You're like a little bulldog.
Yeah. So before we get to his hunt for the Yeti, there's a couple of little cryptozoological side trips we need to take.
Perfect.
Now, cryptozoology, just to give you a quick definition, is the study of animals purported to exist, but which have yet to be proved by science. So sometimes this is stuff like passenger pigeons, which are a species of pigeon that went extinct, but for like 20 years afterwards, people were like, oh, no, I think they might still be around. And I think there's a recording from like the 80s maybe where it's like, could be a passenger pigeon. And then also stuff like the Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah.
Like, you
It's
know,
quite.
So does that mean
It
that
runs the gamut.
Tasmanian tigers are...
Yeah, they considered it cryptid.
Cryptid.
Yeah, they considered it
There you
cryptid.
go. And some of them are, just... There's never been any proof that...
Yeah, it's like Mothman for some
Yeah,
reason
yeah,
is
yeah.
is counted.
We've
in,
gone through a few on this show. We've done Mothman. We've done Nessie.
Yeah.
the lizard of Scape or Swamp.
Oh,
That's
love the
right.
lizard escape or
Oh,
swamp.
something you got to know. So something you got to know about me. I love
Okay.
a bovine. Something you need to know about the lizard man on Escape or Swamp. He loves butter beans.
Loves the butterbean.
Oh, is that so?
Loves butterbeans.
That's huge.
Love-
And I believe for a while there, the lizard followed us back on Twitter.
Yeah,
Whoa,
that's right.
that's huge.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
because there was a local in the town who sold butter beans.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
there's a news interview with him, and there's something you got to know about the lizard man. He loves butter
He loves
beans.
butterbeans. So if you want to see him, probably
That's-
come buy some of my butterbeans. I
It's
guess.
so funny.
That's awesome. I just love the image of somebody sitting there with the butterbean can, just waiting, looking around, and he will arrive. Yeah, he
Oh, yeah.
probably.
Yeah. Oh, I
probably
love those
at some
things.
point
Just
soon.
keep buying those beans.
There, you only eat some fresh though, so you're gonna get it.
You're probably
keep
gonna need those
updating.
beans are probably old. I
Yeah.
haven't updated. So in 1937, Tom Slick traveled with some friends to Loch Ness to try and find the Loch Ness Monster. He didn't see anything, but at the same time, Reverend William Graham saw 2 elephant-colored humps in the water, which created a huge wake. He missed that, but he was there at the same time.
Just say grey. Elephant coloured.
Yeah, that is just grey hair.
Just say grey.
Pink elephant or?
No, I don't know. Just the color of an elephant.
That's
Imagine
why that
an
doesn't
elephant.
work.
You know?
Elephant colored.
Yeah. Just say what colour.
Like a rhino color? Hippo? Like that's
They're all
that's
sort of the same
grey.
color, yeah.
Yeah,
It is a
yeah.
specific grey, I guess.
Yeah.
The grey of concrete's different to the grey of elephant.
Do you ever get brown elephants?
Yeah, if they're in mud.
So
what do you think of
If
that?
they didn't quite make it to the toilet.
I think that's better than if the elephant did make it to the toilet. I think you want the elephant to miss.
Yeah.
You know? So
This podcast is brought to you by Squarespace. Squarespace is the all-in-one website platform designed to help you stand out and succeed online. Whether you're just starting out or scaling your business, Squarespace gives you everything you need to claim your domain, showcase your offerings with a professional website, grow your brand, and get paid. All in the one place.
Oh my God. And when you say scaling your business, you don't mean Spider-Man style, do you? At first, I did picture someone outside a business like skyscraper, sort of with suction cup hands.
Sort of thwipping along.
Yeah.
They can probably do that too, but
Okay.
but the main thing is helping you upscale.
Upscale. Got you. Upscale the side of the building.
That's right. Maybe.
Squarespace gives you everything you need to offer services and get paid all in one place.
It's your one-stop shop.
Yeah, I love that. From consultants to events and experiences, showcase your offerings with a customizable website designed to attract clients and grow your business. Get paid. We're saying that a lot, but that's what this is all about. Cha-ching.
Exactly.
Get paid on time with professional on-brand invoices and online payments. Plus, streamline your workflow with built-in appointment scheduling and email marketing tools.
More cha-ching. Let's talk cutting-edge design tools because...
Thanks. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Yes.
Thank yes and thank you.
Thank you. Because Squarespace has a full collection of those, and anyone can build a bespoke online presence that perfectly fits their brand or business. You start with Blueprint AI, Squarespace's AI-enhanced website builder, to get a fully custom website in just a few steps. Using basic information about your industry, your goals, and personality, Squarespace will generate premium quality content and personalized design recommendations. Squarespace also offers a complete library of professionally designed and award-winning website templates with options for every use and category. It's easy and intuitive, no experience required.
Oh my God, that's so good. I have none.
Well, don't worry, you've come to the right place.
That works out really well. But I don't have any intuition either.
Well, we'll give you that and we'll help you upscale.
Head to squarespace.com/do-go-on for a free trial and save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Squarespace.com/do-go-on.
Hey, Prime members, are you tired of ads interfering with your favorite podcasts? Good news. With Amazon Music, you have access to the largest catalog of ad-free top podcasts included with your Prime membership. To start listening, download the Amazon Music app for free or go to amazon.com/ad-free podcasts. That's amazon.com/ad-free podcasts to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads.
1939, another little cryptozoological side trip for Tom Slick. He read in Ripley's Believe It or Not about a hoat. A man named R.B. Grubb claimed that he had a combination of a hog and a goat on his farm.
Big grub.
R.B. Grubb.
That is fantastic.
That's like a Moses like level prank name.
Yeah,
Is
R.B. Grubb.
here? I need an RB Grubb.
I'm looking for an R.B. Grubb. That's like, it's like a Mo Sizlak moment,
yeah.
But like one where you're like, I don't get
I don't get it. That's a stupid name, but I
So
don't
you
get
had
it.
a combination of it.
a hog and a goat.
Perfect. Yeah.
Hoat.
By all accounts, Tom Slick did travel to this man's farm and purchased the hoat off him, and then allegedly tried to breed it with both hogs and goats to no success.
Okay.
Very little other information about his side trip to buy the hoat is available.
That's the case though with most hybrid animals. They're infertile. Like
Yeah, that's true,
mules
exactly.
and ligers and all that.
Yeah, what was he thinking?
Yeah.
He's kind of an idiot.
And then when you breed a hoat with a goat, now
Yeah.
you've got what?
A goat?
Yeah, it's like 3/4 goat.
Yeah.
and 1/4 hog.
Like, I don't really know what his plan was.
So you're into like pure breeding.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying. Only breed with your kind.
The more you do it, it's just the lesser, and then you just start having goats.
Yeah, like, was he
And we already have those.
Yeah, we got those. They're really cheap.
He should have just shown off the hoat. I don't know why. I don't know why he didn't. I don't know what he was thinking.
You've got to breed it with another hoat.
Yeah, that's the clever move. I like that we just don't know what the hoat was.
Yeah.
Allegedly, he bought it. Ripley's Believe It or Not went and saw it. It was out there, and then
and then the
just
person
gone.
who had it has just made a huge payday because these billionaires come and said, "Name your price, whatever,
Yeah.
I'll pay it.
I need that
2 million.
hoat.
I'll
Done.
take the hoat."
Lock it in. But the sort of main creature for Tom Slick was the Yeti. That was his sort of white whale, so to speak. His white Bigfoot, you could say. Little about the Yeti. So allegedly sightings of the Yeti going back centuries, well before the sort of like 18th century. In Nepal and Tibet, in the Buddhist and the pre-Buddhist mythologies, there's obviously sort of like talk of like or legends of a half ape, half man living in the sort of upper foothills of the Himalayas. Eric Shipton and Dr. Michael Ward were the first people to like bring the Yeti's attention to the Western world, where they discovered some footprints 6,000 meters above sea level in the Menlung Basin. If you think of a Yeti footprint, if you think of like the famous Yeti footprint in the snow, I don't know if that's an image you have in your head or if only I have that in my head. It's hard to gauge how famous that is outside of specifically the things I'm interested in.
Like an actual, like a photo of a
there's like a
record.
famous footprint. I'll see if I can find it. It's I will be able to find it. The Eric Shipton.
You've probably got it saved, I think.
I know. Exactly.
It's your
background.
Yeah, it's your home
I
screen.
literally, when I searched it, it auto-filled it because I've searched it before.
Yeah,
So
okay,
that's
yeah.
the famous Eric Shipton,
Whoa.
Michael Ward Yeti
like
footprint.
3 toes.
Wow.
Yeah. So, Michael Ward, he did not believe it was a Yeti. He was like, it's just a Tibetan with weird feet. That was his belief. That was what he thought was going on there. But anyway, that kicked off the kind of like Yeti fever for the Western world in the sort of mid-1950s.
Okay.
At the same time, a cryptozoologist, sometimes considered the father of cryptozoology,
Whoa.
a Belgian man named Bernard Heuvelmans.
The names in this are insane.
Yeah.
Heuvelmans.
Heuvelman. Hey, I mean, maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong, but Heuvelman.
Yeah.
Heuvelman.
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 Wow.
Either way, it's bad.
Heuvelman. That's pretty good.
Heuvelman. He published a cryptozoological book called On the Track of Unknown Animals. So that it was kind of like a very famous, did very well in the 1950s. Probably these things all together is what kicked off Tom Slick's specific obsession with the Yeti. And then again, we'll get to it at the end, but maybe something else too. So he teamed up with a big game hunter named Peter Byrne, an Australian guy who has, exactly. He worked at Sydney Zoo and he was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do this expedition into the Himalayas to try and find the Yeti. Nepal, if you know your history, during the 1950s and Tibet was a pretty sort of tricky place politically. The annexation of Tibet by China had kind of happened around this time. So it meant getting a permit to go into the mountains to look for Bigfoot was tough. And also because the sort of government had kind of collapsed at this time in various different places, it meant that a lot of the administrative sort of permit granting people and organizations kind of just didn't talk to each other. So you could get a permit from one person and then arrive somewhere else in the country and they'd be like, we don't know what this is. So it meant, and also they were just suspicious of any outsiders coming in to try and, just be in the area or whatever. So if you were there saying, I'm looking for a Yeti, people were like, are you? Like,
Yeah, what are you really
What are
doing?
you really here for?
No, seriously, look, I've got this hoat.
Yeah, exactly.
Take it everywhere I
You've
go.
got to see this hoat.
Which I think, it's a working theory.
Yeah.
They know how to sniff out Yetis.
Oh, clever.
We're going to set it out on the trail. It's going to sniff this footprint. This
Find
photo
us
of a
our
footprint.
So they got a permit at first. Peter Byrne did, but then unfortunately that fell through. And then finally they with a locals, it might have been with Sydney Zoo. I can't remember which zoo specifically, but with Sydney Zoo they were like, yes, we're going to fund your expedition and kind of give you the professional backing you need
Huge.
to go into the mountains. So theoretically, they didn't find a Yeti. Spoilers, but theoretically, there's a version of this where there was a Yeti at the Sydney Zoo because of Tom Slick's
All right,
expedition.
so the zoo were like, great, we'll pay for it.
Yeah.
But if you see it, you got to capture it and bring it back.
Bring it back so we can display
You
it.
reckon the Sydney Zoo's proud of this history?
I think so.
Yeah, I imagine so. Well, something that's worth remembering, right? Because it seems ridiculous now to be like, well, they're going into the mountains to hunt a Yeti. But 20 years earlier was when the panda had been discovered. And up until then, the panda had also kind of filled this mythological place where people were like, what, a bear that's black and white? That's ridiculous. So it's kind of some useful context where you're like, well, the panda's real. So, I mean, why not a gorilla in the mountains?
Really? In the 1930s?
Yeah, the panda was an extremely recent discovery. Let me just double check that in case I'm wrong.
That's Dave's favorite animal.
I love it, even by by the people of China?
Well, no, I think for the Western world.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's not, they don't live. How funny, the Chinese people are like, we're not telling them about it. We see them all the time. We're not going to tell them.
Whatever. It's like, people say, oh, do you ride a kangaroo to school? We're like, yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yes.
Yeah, drop
So
bears
what?
are real, yeah.
So I think in the, for the Western world, it had kind of filled a mythological place. And so the Yeti kind of, people just were more willing to think that could be something you might find.
Like a couple of hundred, within the last couple of 100 years, a lot of the world wasn't aware of any Australian animals.
Yeah.
And they seem pretty wild.
Yeah, when you showed them a platypus or whatever, and they're like,
they thought it was a hoax.
Yeah, for sure.
How offensive.
I know.
This thing's a joke.
They're so cute.
They're actually, and they're older than ducks.
Yeah, that's crazy. Whoa, so ducks took it from the platypus.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm furious, and I'm glad you are as well.
Yeah,
now.
I'm livid, dude. So they made it to a small expedition, a kind of reconnaissance expedition, made it to Nepal to try and find the Yeti. Just kind of early searching out, looking for evidence. They were mostly in a place called the Aran Valley, and that's because they'd heard that this was where the really big Yetis lived.
Oh, yeah. So they're aware of a lot of different Yetis.
Well, so within the sort of like native mythology, there are 3 Yetis. Now, I have the 3 names of them because, again, talk about awesome names. One of them, I mean, they all rock, but one is particularly good.
3 species or 3 individuals? Right.
So there's the Nyalmo, which is the largest, most fiercest of the Yetis, 15 foot tall. The Chuti, which is about 8 foot tall and lives a little bit lower down the mountains. The Nyalmo lives at the very top. The Chuti lives at 8,000, 10,000 feet, so a little bit lower. Okay. And then the Rangshimbombo, which is 3 foot tall, reddish brown fur, lives kind of in the foothills and the lowlands.
That's Dave.
If you're gonna
Dave.
Rangshimbombo.
But if you're going to go for one, you go for that one first, right?
That's what I would think. I would not go for the huge,
but 15-foot tall, man eating one thousands of feet up the mountain.
But I suppose you'll see it.
Yeah, it's much more
3 foot
visible.
tall, he could hide in a bush or whatever.
Right, yeah, but it's easier to shoot with the net gun or something.
You'd think it'd be the opposite as well. You'd think it'd be a smaller one on the top of the mountain.
Yeah, that's true. That would probably make more sense.
But evolution.
Yeah,
it surprises you.
Well, who lives at the top of? I mean, the bears live up. There's like blue bears that live at the top of the
Blue
Himalayas.
bears?
yeah.
What the heck?
I don't think they're bright blue, but
what are you talking about?
Blue bears.
Blue bears? Is this a crypto?
No, it's just a real.
Are you a crypto bro?
I'm a crypto bro. I'm a kind of crypto bro. Search blue bears. Hang on.
Is it just going to bring you a bear in the big blue house?
Yeah, the Tibetan blue bear. There you go.
Whoa.
How blue is this bear?
It's not really.
It's sort of a grey. It's sort of like when dogs are blue and they're just sort of
it's like a blue heeler,
beautiful bear,
but of bear form.
Hey, by the way, I've just looked up my notes from old reports.
Yeah.
For the name Lauren Coleman, because it rang a bell, who's written the only
biography
book about Tom Slick.
Yeah.
And I've mentioned him on at least 3 episodes previously.
That
Bigfoot,
rocks.
Mothman, and the Dover Demon.
Yeah, because he's one of the big cryptozoology guys. Him, Carl Schucker, probably some others.
Awesome.
Rex Gilroy is an Australian one, but I think he stinks.
Maybe Jackson Baly.
Maybe Jackson Baly should join their ranks. Yeah, I think so.
In my mind, Jackson Baly is already amongst their ranks.
I'm then maybe the number 1.
To me, yes.
Yeah, that's so nice to hear from my mentor.
Yeah.
It is an amazing looking bear.
It's beautiful.
I don't think I've ever heard of a blue bear.
And I want to rub its head heaps. Yeah,
I
that's
want to give it a little hug.
Yeah. It is spectacular. It looks really soft.
Yeah. I don't know. There's something about it. I mean, that photo that I'm looking at, the one on wikipedia.org, I don't know if it's a lighting thing, but it does have a blue tinge to it.
Yeah, there is a bit of
But I would
blueness
say
to it.
if you hadn't ever seen another bear, you'd say it's brown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But compared to a brown bear, it's a bit blue.
That's it.
You're not wrong. So April 2nd, 1957, they discovered tracks 10,000 feet above sea level.
Oh, do you think they're using the Yetis?
The Yeti's using.
So they're 10,000, but we're probably looking at the 8-footers, maybe.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
That's okay. They've gone
I
medium.
listen.
They've gone medium.
Jess is paying attention.
Yeah.
Now I need that from you two.
I'm too busy thinking of stupid things to say.
Oh, that's okay then.
The crazy thing about when you start with a 15-footer, now 8 foot seems quite reasonable, but
Yeah.
that is so big.
So
Oh,
big.
it's huge. That's gigantic. And I mean, they say this about any of the sort of mystery apes. They're always described as like just horrendously big. But there is a thing, I forget what it's called, but when you're scared, you're really bad at judging size. It's like a thing that happens to your brain.
That's why 7-Elevens have that colour thing on the door.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, they were definitely in the Blues home. 5'10" to 6'2".
It is funny to imagine anybody that's been like mugged or like, you know, if you're at a 7-Eleven been robbed and you're like, he was like an 8-foot tall guy.
So big.
So like a biblical giant came in. So they saw the tracks. They had obviously quite a big team with them as well, including like local Sherpas and stuff. And they were like, well, we don't want to be outright like, oh, it's a Yeti. So what Byrne did is he pointed to them and he was like, oh, look, it's tracks from a blue bear. And the Sherpas were like, you're an idiot. It's a Yeti.
Yeah.
So that was how they kind of tried to, quote unquote, verify that they'd found Yeti footprints. They were like, we got to track these. We got to track this Yeti. And so they followed it for like 6 hours through the snow, up various rises, through, because, you know, we imagine that the top of the Himalayas are just like snow. It's just snow drifts and banks and stuff like that. But there are small bamboo forests and kind of arboreal sort of, forests.
Is that where the blue bears are?
I would imagine so. Because, I mean, you just kind of can't live just in the snow.
Yeah.
You know
need
what? Like,
more to do.
When you think...
Take that, polar bears.
Yeah.
I
You fucks.
used to think
stupid
that
idiots.
things had all been discovered, and
Yeah.
a lot of it has, but not by me. I'm still discovering shit right now.
Yeah.
It's like, it just feels like I found a whole new world.
The craziest thing I had
A
for
new
me, a point of view.
point of view, yeah.
When I was in high school, this guy came, like, you know, they do like the talk, like,
Yeah.
hey, and he was like,
The sex talk.
The sex talk, yeah.
Hey, guy sits backwards on a chair and says, well, let me wax with you.
Okay, listen up, kids. You got a penis? Hands up.
Hands up, he's got a penis.
So
I was fired from my last job for asking this question.
I think I can get away with it here.
You guys seem cool. Who's got a willy?
Who's got a willy? Hands up.
He's real hot.
And he puts his hand up. I got one.
No big deal. Okay. Nothing to be ashamed of.
Yeah, it's cool.
Some of us have willies.
I don't have a willy. Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
This isn't for you.
Not about you. Anyway, no, he came to be like, this is what I did after high school, and he was like, I did this like marathon hike through Mongolia and stuff. And anyway, at the end of it, he showed this like montage of like stuff that he'd filmed, and amongst it was this deer with a trunk. And like, I remember as a kid being like, what? Because it was on the screen for like 5 seconds. I was like, what animal is that? I don't even know. And it had been this huge mystery for me for years.
A deer with a trunk.
Yeah, I'm going to search trunk deer, but I think it will. It's real.
That's going to be porn. That feels to me somehow that will be porny.
Deer. Is it called a muntjac? No. God damn it. It's a deer with a full on, its nose comes down like a tapir.
But it's deer, because I was thinking, like a tapir.
Deer with a trunk. Come on. The Saiga antelope. It's not a deer.
It's an antelope.
It's a fucking antelope.
Yeah, no.
But look at this guy.
Same.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me if you saw that when you're like 18 and it's
You've
on
never
the
seen
screen.
it
You've
before.
never seen it
Wow.
before. You're like, I just saw a mythical animal.
If
This
you
man.
made that upright, that is a George Lucas Star Wars character.
Yeah.
That's true. That's Max Grebo, baby. Holy shit.
Yeah, good point.
So they tracked the footprints, but unfortunately, it got dark. The wind was kicking up. You know, you're in the Himalayas.
They had to get back to the hotel.
Exactly. You got to get back for hot chocolates
Yeah,
and a fireplace.
and they only do dinner from like 6 to 8, so you got to get back in time.
You don't want to miss that because there's like nothing's open
Exactly.
in the town. So it's
Yeah,
like that,
yeah.
or you're just eating the mints or whatever on your bed.
So yeah, they had to get back for dinner.
This thing looks sick.
Yeah, it's
Look
cool.
at its horns are amazing as well. Look at the ridges on the horns.
I think I could never see that like in like a zoo or a safari because I just want to grab its little trunk nose and go blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
then they'd kick me out. I don't think it'd be
It's
allowed back.
You are the third person today to do that. We've got to call it.
We've got to put up a sign.
Yeah.
What the heck? This is the best. I fully love how there's still animals.
just
You go,
said, yeah.
whoa!
Yeah.
Isn't it good?
Love it.
So they also allegedly discovered some fur and droppings, which they sent away, according to all of the sort of reports of this expedition, they sent it away to Life magazine, but Life magazine is like, we've never got any Yeti fur or droppings.
Life magazine was, please stop sending poo to a PO box.
Yeah, we don't want that.
It smells very bad.
So that was their sort of reconnaissance. They didn't come away with much. The next expedition was 1958. Tom Slick, well, I should say, on the reconnaissance mission in, I think, Nepal, they all were in a bus crash together. A bus crashed, the brakes failed, and they sort of slid down a mountain. Tom Slick had a very minor injury to his knee. Everybody else was okay. But Tom Slick's mother, Bernice Slick, was quite overbearing. And she was like, you are never allowed to go to Nepal again.
He's a fully grown adult.
Yeah, he's like in his 30s at this point.
If you go, we'll change your name again.
Exactly. So he never went on an expedition after this.
You'll be Thomas Bucket Slick next time.
Not even in America, because he later did some expeditions more locally. Never went on an expedition because his mother was like, it's unsafe. You're going to die.
Oh my
Stay
God.
home.
Mom, let me get injured in Nepal.
Yeah, exactly.
Was it Nepal's fault?
It was just could happen, taking a bus to see the theater or something.
Totally.
But no, she was like, that's it. That's it for you. No more expeditions.
I'm pretty sure there's a few bus accidents on record in America.
Yeah, it
I've
happens.
seen Speed.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no,
That did not end well.
He was banned.
But in
Or
that
did it?
movie, they don't want brakes.
Yeah, that's true. That you actually want to stay the same speed forever till you die. So the 58 expedition he didn't go on, but he sent a lot of different groups out into the mountains, kind of like individually, and they would liaise with him via like mail and stuff like that. He would kind of act as like expedition leader and financier.
I imagine
from
he's in
America.
some sort of like government control room now with like 50 monitors watching what everyone does because he's not allowed to leave.
And he's somehow got cameras of them like high in the Himalayas. This time he employed animal trackers, professional photographers, and big game hunters. Slick apparently kind of revolutionized the Yeti hunting industry, so to speak, by treating it like an animal. So no one else hunting the Yeti had really done that. There'd been another expedition to capture the Yeti that basically they did like a drag net, where they got like 50 guys holding hands walking through the mountains.
Oh, like they were looking for a lost person.
Yeah, like they were looking for somebody, and which I mean, like I think if you're a Yeti, you're like, I'm gonna get as far away from that as I possibly can.
Yeti, where are you?
Yeah, that's kind of how they did
Are
it.
you okay?
Yeah, they're thinking it wants to be found.
Yeah, pretty much. But
Your family miss you.
But Tom Slick, he was doing stuff like chatting to locals, and he was making small teams, and they would go to like locations where there'd been sightings, and they would just hunker down and wait months in the hopes that it would come by. They didn't find it, obviously. They also used dogs on this expedition. They got 3 hunting dogs from America that they brought over, but the dogs did not know how to deal with Himalayas. And basically also the like horrible grueling days that they had to do tracking a Bigfoot through the snow. They didn't die. In the end, they were just like, we can't have these dogs, and they gave them to a village somewhere in the mountains.
Yeah, they really should have trained up some of those trunk deers.
The trunk deers, imagine one of them sniffing the ground.
If they're on your trail, good luck.
Good luck to you.
They'd also be really good to stick both your fingers up the nose and drag it toward you, I think. That'd be really satisfying.
They'd be really good for that.
They'd be so good for that.
Yeah. Some animals aren't, birds.
Yep.
You've got a list.
They found some more tracks on the 58 expedition. There was a Yeti sighting, one of the smaller Yetis, the Yongpong, what were they called? The Rangshinbombos.
Yes.
Where it had been a man out hunting frogs had seen one, and so they sent like 3 people to go over and wait by the river for about a month, but they just obviously they didn't see it. They also found a cave that allegedly had a Yeti living in it, and it had a bed of juniper branches. Whoa. They were like, that's where he's been sleeping, basically. But they waited again a long time. No Yeti ever turned up. But one thing that they did find, and this is where it's starting to get crazier. One thing they did find is in a lot of the monasteries in the Himalayas, there are sort of relics that are supposed to look like or be mummified Yeti parts.
Oh.
So it's kind of hard to tell. Some of the monasteries have ones that are just meant to be representative of the sort of Yeti parts. So they'd be like Yeti scalps, Yeti hands, and that kind of thing. And then some claim it's the real deal.
Jackson, can I just say something quickly?
Yeah.
I want to believe.
Well, me too,
I don't
man.
know. I don't know. Guesses are real. There's got to be some sort of explanation for this type.
Yeah.
But I'm I reckon the truth is out there.
Yeah.
Dave doesn't really have an opinion either way.
Yeah, I'm really boring. No, I want to believe.
Yeah.
Right. Well, how exciting would it be? I mean, if you told me yesterday, there's this myth that there's a deer with a trunk, I was like, oh yeah,
Bullshit.
Yeah. And then you go, well, just Google image search it.
Yeah.
I go, whoa! I found it.
It's real. I proved it exists.
Do you just think this is nonsense, Bob, or do you think it would be? What do you have? Where do you sit on like this sort of cryptid stuff?
I think there's two wolves in all of us, right?
Yes.
So one of my wolves is like, there's a logical explanation for these things.
Yeah.
But then the other wolf is like, be pretty fun though.
Yeah.
Be pretty fun if there's a Yeti.
It's
I think
cool
I've
to
got the
imagine.
same wolves.
Yeah.
One of my wolves is like, come on,
Yeah.
that'd be sick. Imagine, I want the Tasmanian tiger to be out there.
Oh yeah,
And the other
me
one's
too.
like, lots of animals could use branches as a little nest.
Yeah.
How do you prove it's a bed? Like,
Yeah,
what,
yeah.
what do you mean?
It's just
That's
some
just a pile of
branches.
branches.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm kind of the same, but I think because I've been so interested in cryptozoology since I was like a little kid, I've lost that I think you have to be skeptical, you know what I mean? But I also think it's probably stupid to be like, people are all lying because people say they see something. It's just about finding out what that thing is. Even if they've made a mistake and they're not actually seeing the Bigfoot, to ignore it completely seems like maybe a mistake. Is there a Yeti in the Himalayas? I don't know. There are a lot of blue bears up there that probably look like Yetis at a distance.
Right.
Very possible.
But to me, that's just as exciting.
Well, yeah.
Blue bear?
I didn't know that existed 25 minutes ago.
So a lot of the relics, like Tom Slick would look at in a lot of the different monasteries, he'd be like, these are bullshit. But there was one that he was like, I don't know. And this is the Pangboch hand. So this was a mummified Yeti hand and 2 mummified Yeti scalps in the same monastery. He was like, I need that hand. But obviously, getting a hand out of a monastery in the mountains, heavily guarded, is going to be difficult. And then getting it back into America, even more difficult. And thus began truly the heist of the century.
Oh my God, the hand job.
The hand job. So one of his team was sent to the Pangboch monastery to try and steal some of the hand to bring it back to America so that they could do DNA testing on
So
it.
just a little bit. Just like
Well, because they were like,
nibble
we
a bit
can't
off.
if we take the whole hand, they'll know.
Yeah.
So we snagged a finger and a thumb from the hand, smuggled it away.
And they'll never know. They'll go, did that hand used to have
There'll be a monk kind of looking at it with his head cocked like, does that look weird to you?
Or have I just been looking at it for too long?
I swear I had a thumb yesterday.
Something strange about this.
But no way for me to check.
Yeah, I don't know. Now, that was the easy part. Getting it into America through customs was the hard part. Now, here's my next question for you. What famous actor from the 1950s helped Tom Slick smuggle the Yeti hand back into
Humphrey
America?
Bogart.
No. But think of actors around this time. I can give you some hints if you'd
Frank
like.
Sinatra. You probably
That's a
call him a
good one.
singer.
Clark Gable.
No.
Is it one of these sort of guys?
Yeah, you're in the right area.
It's a dude?
It's a dude.
Who's that swashbuckling Tasmanian?
He was
Errol
an
Flynn.
American guy.
Okay, American guy.
Would you like?
Humphrey Bogart.
No, not Humphrey Bogart. Very famous.
Oh, Jess, do you want to guess Humphrey Bogart?
Humphrey Bogart.
Third time's a charm.
Yes. Sorry. I just got what you were doing. I thought you were like, you're letting Jess have a go. Oh, I'm the idiot. Humphrey Bogart.
Whoa.
This time, yes. So at the same time as this was happening, Jimmy Stewart
Oh.
was holidaying
Uncle Jimmy.
in India.
Oh, it's a wonderful
Jimmy
life.
Stewart. Now,
I've never seen it. Is that how the movie finishes?
He says, oh, wow. What a wonderful life it is.
I'll help you. I'll smuggle it back into the country.
Oh, I'm so glad I didn't die.
Sean Connery was there as well. I'll smuggle it back into the
I'll
country.
smuggle it back into the country. So Jimmy Stewart was good friends with a man named Kirk Johnson Sr., who was on the expedition. It was a financier of the expedition. Kirk Johnson Sr.'s son, Kirk Johnson Jr., was also on the expedition.
On a normal day and in a normal report, Kirk Johnson Sr. would be the greatest name we've heard in ages.
He was also nicknamed Big Daddy.
Oh my God.
And was
And he's still not. Is he top 10 today?
No, there's so many. And then there's Kirk Johnson Jr.
Yeah. Who I don't know if anybody called him Little Daddy, but they should have.
Wow.
KJ Jr.
KJ Jr. KJJ. So they were good for. They were sort of like amateur aviators. And so was Jimmy Stewart. So they became friends that way. Okay. Jimmy Stewart holidaying in India, and they say, "Hey, Jimmy, could you do us a solid and smuggle a Yeti hand or Yeti fingers?"
Can you ask Jess, and Jess as Jimmy Stewart will reply?
Jimmy, I got a favor. It's me, Big Daddy.
Oh, hey, Big Daddy.
Jimmy, pal, I need you to smuggle something for me across the border.
Oh, I don't know about that.
But it could be the greatest scientific breakthrough of the 20th century.
Oh, I'll do it for you, Big Daddy.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you so much. So Jimmy Stewart.
I actually feel really good about that.
That was a really good impression.
Wow.
Have you seen it? Have you seen Jimmy Stewart? That's spot on.
Can I get you? What does he say? You want the moon? I'll bring you the moon.
You want the moon? I'll bring you the moon.
That's good. That's a good impression.
Thank you so much.
Damn.
Thank you so much. I love It's a Wonderful Life.
Me too. So Jimmy Stewart smuggled Yeti finger and thumb in his wife's underwear across the border.
That she was wearing? Okay,
in
just
a suitcase.
space. Okay.
A Yeti finger into his wife's underwear? Jimmy Stewart. And how would Jimmy have sold it to his wife?
Hey, baby.
Got a favor.
Give me a solid, won't you?
Oh, yeah, that's...
Oh, damn.
This is some good Jimmy.
It's good, Joe. It's good, Jimmy.
I don't think I've ever seen a Jimmy Stewart movie, but I've seen people impersonate him.
I just think it's crazy that famous Hollywood actor Jimmy Stewart smuggled a Yeti finger out of Nepal to try and prove the existence of the Yeti.
Yeah.
That's, in every biography where they talk about Jimmy Stewart, next time you're watching It's a Wonderful Life, no, he did that at some point.
Wow.
This could have been the whole report. Just the finger.
Just exactly, but there's so much more. So the hand, they did study it.
And is the theory that who's going to search Jimmy Stewart's bag?
Who's going to search not only Jimmy Stewart's bag, but Jimmy Stewart's wife's bag and specifically her delicates?
Yeah.
They're not going to do
That'd
it.
be rude.
That's the safest place for a Yeti finger.
Okay, so Jimmy, we're going to have to check your wife's bag. Is that... obviously, we don't want to create any trouble. Is that okay?
No, I mean, no, nobody looks through a lady's underwear.
He's right. Let them through. A million apologies, Jimmy.
I want to speak to your supervisor.
We're in so much trouble.
I've lost it now.
Want to speak to your supervisor?
Yeah,
I don't know what's wrong with mine. He's like about to cry.
Yeah.
There's a bit of the... What was the doesn't matter. I can't think of the person or the person they were impersonating, which makes it very hard to...
Yeah, you can't really work backwards
So you're going to do an
from
impression
that.
of someone doing an impression and you don't know who's doing the impression or who they're doing an impression of. That's awesome.
Jess's one's got a little bit of the... And it's the Bridesmaids. What was her name? The main one from Bridesmaids. Kirsten Wiig on SNL did this impersonation of someone trying to turn off a light.
It's not Liza Minnelli, is it?
No. I think it is. I think it is Liza Minnelli.
Yeah.
It's like Jimmy Stewart, and then towards the end you were going into the Liza Minnelli.
Into Liza Town.
That could be a new character of yours, though.
Yeah.
Jimmy
Stewart.
Minnelli.
Oh, Jimmy Minnelli. Whoa. That feels wrong to say, Jimmy Minnelli. I don't like moving from me to Minnelli.
Oh, yeah. Jimmy Minnelli sounds like a low-level sort of mafia guy.
Yeah. Hey, Jimmy Minnelli. Hey, tell him Jimmy Minnelli sent you.
Yeah. Oh, I don't want no trouble with Jimmy Minnelli.
So they did studies on the hand because they got it back to America.
Wow.
The early studies were like, we don't know what this is. The early studies were like, some were like, it's nearly human.
Yeah.
But there are some things about it that are mysterious. Some other ones were like, it has some of the genetic markers of like hominids, like apes. But we can't prove anything. And then in 2011, they were like, we think this is just a human being. But there is some tiny, slim element of doubt. Some of the fecal matter as well that they picked up was tested as well. A lot of people were like, it's a wolf. It's just wolf shit that you've brought back.
Wait, did the Yeti not make it to the toilet?
Yeah, the Yeti, like the elephant, didn't quite make it.
And was that smuggled in Mrs. Stewart's underwear?
I don't know how
she had a nasty accident.
I don't know how they got the shit back. I don't know why getting the shit back was easy, but getting the finger back wasn't.
Yeah.
You think that would be much harder.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Sorry, TSA, my wife's got skid marks. It was nowhere near it at
Oh,
all.
like your Jimmy's something upsetting about him. Oh, Scott's cat mark. It's kind of yours is approaching Jennifer Coolidge somehow.
Yeah.
Makes you want a hot dog. I can't do that voice. Anyway, so
My wife had an accident with a rear window.
in 1991, the TV show Unsolved Mysteries does a whole episode on the hand. Okay. Not moments, but after that episode comes out, the hand disappears from the monastery. Stolen
What?
into the hands of a private collector. This is crazy. In 2010, Weta Workshop produced a replica of the hand and gave it back to the monastery.
What? These are the Lord of the Rings
Yeah,
people.
the Lord of the Rings special effects people made a replica of the Pangboche hand and returned it to the monastery. Why they did that, I don't know. For what? Like, how does that help the monastery?
Yeah.
I couldn't say.
I mean, yeah,
But
I
it's a
guess for
thing that happened.
Is it a tourist kind of monastery?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't. But also, if you're a tourist, you're like, it's not the real hand. It's the
Yeah.
Weta
Yeah.
Workshop fake.
I'm not going there to see a fake hand.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a long way to go.
I can see fake hands right here.
I mean, I guess it's cool to see the artistry of Weta Work. Like, you know,
Yeah.
if I was in New Zealand and they had as part of the like Hobbit exhibition, they were
Yeah.
like, oh, here's the Pangboche
You know what,
hand.
though? Now that you've mentioned it, I'd love to go to that monastery and see the hand.
Well, yeah, I mean, if I was in the area.
Yeah.
The real hand or the Weta
The
Workshop?
Weta Workshop hand.
Yeah.
Now it's part of the story.
That's true. That's
Right.
true. You'd be seeing history.
Mm.
Yeah.
But the original one has just never turned up.
No, it's just people assume it's fallen into the hands of a private collector. Nobody knows who.
You know the
And then also there is something that's kind of complicated about the whole story is that when they stole the fingers, the people of the monastery replaced the fingers with human bones.
Oh.
And so that meant any studies, because there were later studies done just of the hand, not of the bits smuggled out by Tom Slick. And people are like, did they test the right bit? We don't know. Because, you know, some of them were like, oh, it's human. And they're like, well, yeah, there were human parts on the Pangboche hand.
right.
So we don't know.
But the Tom Slick, the Jimmy Stewart bits,
Yeah.
they're still
There
with
is-
scientists somewhere.
Yes, yeah, there's somewhere. A lot of the thing is, a lot of the results, like it was very secretive, all of these sort of expeditions into the Himalayas. And so a lot of the results and the research papers it just kind of was sent to like various scientific departments, various universities, various magazines and stuff like that. And then it kind of just gets, you know, you put it, you're like, well, I've got Tom Slick's Yeti Hunter. Who cares? You put it away, it gets lost in the museum, that kind of thing. And,
Yeah.
you know, it disappears.
Wow.
So, 1960, something terrible happens for the Tom Slick Yeti hunting investigation. And that's that Edmund Hillary, famous mountaineer, gets employed by World Book encyclopedias to go to the Himalayas and hunt the Yeti. Thing about Hillary is that whereas Tom Slick was a kind of font of optimism, Edmund Hillary was like, well, it's kind of a joke. And so when he came back, he was like, yeah, it's not real. The Yeti's not real. The footprints that they found are fox prints that have melted in the sun. The skins and the scalps and stuff, that's all from the Himalayan blue bear. Any Yeti seen in the lowlands is probably like a rhesus monkey. The one thing he couldn't explain is he's like, yeah, we heard some crazy noises. I don't know what they were, but the Yeti's not real. And then World Book encyclopedias, which previously in previous editions were like, we don't know, started to be like, oh, we know. The Yeti is a myth. And that meant that all the funding that Tom Slick was getting from all of these scientific organizations that were like, well, yeah, let's get the Yeti, were like, I don't know if I want to be associated with the crazy man searching for a legend in the mountains.
Wow.
A crushing blow to Tom Slick and his expeditions.
Fucking Edmund Hillary.
Fucking Edmund
What a
goddamn
dog.
Hillary. It's very funny because this Lauren Coleman is a cryptozoologist and he's the one who wrote the biography. And this chapter is incensed. He
Yeah.
hates Edmund Hillary.
Whoa.
He's like, he wrecked it for all of us.
Was this
Very funny.
Wait, is this like at the same time? Where's Bigfoot at?
So Bigfoot had yet to have, and that's where we move next, because given that he couldn't kind of hunt the Yeti anymore, he sort of turned his attention back to his, America, started hunting the Bigfoot, making Pacific Northwest expeditions to try and find him.
He's like, yeah, fuck this up, Edmund.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're going to go mountaineer, in the woods or
Oh, you
whatever.
are? Well, forget it. No, I was only joking.
Oh, no, stop.
Don't worry about it.
No,
Don't worry
stop,
about it. There is one thing I want to read out to you. There's like it's like a log between various researchers looking at some of the footprints, where they are all like, it's definitely, one guy's like, it's a panda, and everyone's also like, I don't know why he thinks it's a panda, but it's clearly because pandas were like the most recent big
Yeah.
discovery. So
They were the hot new thing.
yeah. because these were some of the experts that Tom Slick got to like look at all of the different sort of evidence that he found. Coon, if it's a primate, it is an exceedingly unusual one. Agogino, most interesting thing was the discovery of hair imprints between the two smallest toes. The creature had hairy feet, not on the undersurface, but between the toes or perhaps above. Coon, I think this is the most important thing to come out of the area so far. Now thinking of a completely unknown animal, close to a primate or halfway between bear and primate. Hausman, footprint is much like a Bushman footprints. Schultz, most likely a new local species of giant panda. Kuhn, says Schultz is most excited about the footprint and feels it's a new type of giant panda. Ulmer, has a panda and says its footprint is not the same as that of the cast, feels like it's more human, even with the small broad toes. Is it? Looked at the footprints of a giant panda in the London Zoo and feels Schultz is incorrect in his assumption that the Yeti is a giant panda. Agogino, a recently extinct type of giant panda, was known to have existed in Upper Burma, maybe in Nepal, and an allied genus still survives. Ulma, surprised Schultz is calling the Yeti paw print that of a giant panda. Is acquainted with giant pandas from my days at the Academy of Natural Sciences, collected 3 for the museum group. The toe imprint of the foot are far too big to be a giant panda. I just love that he's like, it's a panda, and everyone's like, I
think it is.
I think you're just excited about pandas. I don't think it's a panda, buddy.
Everything's a panda.
Anyway, so
I literally went and I looked at their paw prints, dude.
At the zoo. It's not a panda, dude.
But then what? The guy's like, no, it's not a bad. It's way bigger than a panda's footprint.
Yeah.
It's like what he said. It was a different, new kind
it's
of panda.
It's a new kind of panda, dude.
Maybe there could be, just because you've called the other one a giant panda, maybe there's a new extra giant panda.
Yeah, leave me alone,
giant
dude.
Panda.
So in Bluff Creek in 1958, there is a very famous Bigfoot sighting. And that's where a man they were like bulldozing a bunch of forest. They saw a bunch of footprints and they saw Bigfoot. This kind of prompted Bigfoot fever, I guess you could say, in America. Bluff Creek, also the location of the famous Patterson-Gimlin footage, where Bigfoot does that awesome, like, look back at the camera and move to the side. Huh? I watched a great video on that recently where somebody who makes fursuits, like for furries, went through and was like, well, I'm an expert in making this kind of thing. Let me give you my opinion. It was very good to watch.
And their opinion?
They were kind of like, there's some things that would be extremely difficult to do in 1960. Not impossible, but like you would be struggling. One of the things I think she pointed out was the sheen on the fur. She's like, I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you do that.
Yeah, anyway. And because we did an episode on Bigfoot years ago and talked about this, and I remember one thing people would say was the winners of the Academy Award for Best Makeup and everything was Planet of the Apes recently. Yeah. And they, you look at them now and you're like, they're men in suits. Whereas this is
something about
how is someone, if they've just faked it, how have they done a better job than Hollywood?
Absolutely. It was a very interesting thing to watch. I mean, Patterson-Gimlin footage. Is it real? Who can say? So Slick was like, we got to find the Bigfoot. So he sent out multiple expeditions into the Pacific Northwest. The problem was that he kind of was losing control of this whole operation at this point, and most of the people went out, didn't look for the Bigfoot, and just fleeced him of his money. So we're looking. That's pretty much what happened.
Look, can I hear a spa?
Yeah. Where are you right now? I think the Bigfoot's here. Goodbye. I gotta go. So he kind of got screwed over by a lot of these people, and the whole expedition came to a crashing halt because he died. This is when he crashed his plane from the beginning of the story. So the bomb on the plane, some people think, was placed there possibly because he was an embarrassment to the various scientific institutions that he belonged to.
I reckon it was his mum.
And also, he was a huge proponent of world peace. So some people, he wrote multiple books on nuclear disarmament and stuff. So some people are like, maybe the government killed him because they, didn't like what he was saying. So that's kind of like the sort of story of Tom Slick, but then there's this interesting extra wrinkle. He also did a bunch of other little cryptozoological expeditions. He tried to find the Trinity Lake salamander, which are giant salamanders that live in the Trinity Alps. He tried to find the orang pendek, which is another kind of like a mystery ape from Sumatra. He tried to find neodinosaurs in New Guinea, that being like surviving.
Did he try and find a stink ape?
You mean a skunk ape?
A skunk ape, sorry. That was my favorite one you've told me about.
Skunk ape's great.
Skunk ape.
Stinky ape, dude. Stinky ape in the swamp. And also a lake monster. There's also another story before any of his Yeti hunting expeditions where he crashed a plane in Brazil and he survived it. He walked out of it fine, and he lived with the YY tribesmen for 2 weeks eating only parrot meat. Just something he did in his life.
Tastes like chicken.
So here's the kind of wrinkle in the Tom Slick story. Was Tom Slick a spy?
What?
So earlier I talked about that trip to Loch Ness. Okay, remember the trip to Loch Ness?
Yeah.
he took?
How could I forget?
A famous trip. So
Elephant colours.
Exactly, elephant colors in the water. So he went there with a bunch of friends, but on the way back, all of his friends came back to America, but he took a side trip to the Soviet Union to, quote, see what it was like.
Okay.
During World War II...
What a cover story.
I was going to see what it's like.
Just got to see what's going on over there. During World War II, Tom Slick was employed as a $1-a-year man. These were like leaders of industry and like businessmen who basically were employed by the US government to like kind of help out on the sort of government's dime, but they were paid $1 a year so that it didn't seem like the US government was like working with private, interests or whatever.
Yeah.
Because he had poor eyesight, so he couldn't serve on the front lines. But then later on, regulations relaxed, and they moved him to the Pacific island of Saipan, where he was a commanding officer at the Saipan oil tank farm. Saipan, in the 1950s, became a CIA training base that trained many Koreans, Taiwanese, and Tibetans in its time there. So we don't know how related Tom Slick's time in Saipan was to when it became a CIA training base, but it is interesting that he spent a lot of time there. And you remember his airways, Slick Airways, the cargo running planes. So there was another airway called the Civil Air Transport, and they did the same thing as him. They were the two leaders, basically, of this cargo running over the Himalayas. The CIA purchased Civil Airways, Civil Air Transport in the 1950s, as well as many other airways that did the same thing. And there was a Freedom of Information Act on the whole like airways that they purchased, and the CIA were like, we'll tell you most of them, but some we have to keep secret. And then in the 1990s, there was a civil case, basically like a court case where they were like, somebody was suing the CIA because the CIA had bought their plane company and then at the end basically dipped and left this person with a lot of debt. So they sued them. And they were asked, this man named, what was his name? Edwin Rautenberg. He was sort of asked about this whole thing and about Slick Airways. And he said, until 1956, the CIA proprietary worked through a company called Slick Airways. Then they started their own operation and immediately ran into tax problems with the state of California. So this person said that Slick Airways was a CIA front during the 1950s.
Wow.
The next part, obviously, is the fact that Nepal was a very kind of tremulous, sort of troubled place during the 1950s when Tom Slick was there.
Yes.
And he would often send a lot of his experts to a specific city. I can't remember the name of it, but it was kind of like known as a hotbed of spies.
Okay.
Including Charlton Coon, one of his high-ranking kind of like consultants, used to be a high-ranking officer in the OSS. He also had a son named Carl Jr. So
of course.
A lot of guys with sons that are juniors. So something was going.
That's the burger chain as well, isn't it?
That's true. It is. So and there's also an unverified report of a American tourist coming and exchange or sort of like overseeing an exchange of weapons that like quite very like matches the description of Tom Slick quite well, but the man is anonymous and we don't know who it was.
Okay.
So there's some theory that Tom Slick was actually a CIA asset during all of this, and he was never hunting the abominable snowman.
He had no interest in that.
No, that he was using it as a front to go into Nepal and act as a spy and a CIA stooge to organize weapons trades, to gather information, because it's kind of the perfect cover, because you just seem like this eccentric oil billionaire.
Yeah, and everyone just sort of underestimates you. And
Yeah,
goes,
exactly.
Oh,
They go,
whatever. Yeah, don't worry about him.
He's searching for a Yeti.
He's crazy, but he's really rich and he pays lots of stuff.
Yeah,
so
sure.
whatever.
And yeah, whatever. He's got people in cities all over the country, and he's got a lot of different, like, expeditions sent off to different corners of Nepal and Tibet. But they're just looking for the Yeti. They're not doing anything suspicious.
Oh, that's it. I'd love to watch that TV show.
Well,
where...
there was nearly a movie made starring Nicolas Cage called Tom Slick Yeti Hunter.
Yes! And wouldn't he
know.
have been a spy in that? Because it's such a great front that everyone thinks he's this eccentric guy, but also he's doing these really advanced missions. And
Yeah, under the cover of allegedly hunting the Yeti.
But what about this? He was both. And because he was CIA, he found the Yeti, brought it back to Roswell, and have been breeding them there ever since.
What are they breeding them for?
taking over.
Super army, super strong army.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that does make sense. That is fair. I'm an idiot for asking.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, I feel stupid.
Super
Reaching-
Yeti army for America.
Yeah, I feel dumb.
Also reaching stuff on really high shelves.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. If they're 8 foot tall,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, they're the medium ones.
No, that's
He
true.
even found the big ones.
Whoa,
15 footers.
damn,
How'd you even
dude.
fit him on a plane?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Let's lie down.
Lie 'em down.
They're going to end up being like,
Must be nice.
They're going to be, they're being trained up to play as the next dream team. They're not going to have to, they're shooting down. They're dropping the balls into the roof.
Whoa.
Yeah.
There's even a rumor, and this is very unverified, but the smuggling the Dalai Lama out of Nepal or Tibet was one of the it's like a huge part of CIA lore, I guess, where nobody knows who did it, nobody knows how they did it, and one of the theories is that it was Tom Slick and Peter Byrne who were in the country at the time, kind of undocumented, nobody really knew what they were, and that they smuggled the Dalai Lama.
Peter Byrne, the Sydney guy.
Yeah, the Sydney guy.
Wow.
Smuggled the Dalai Lama out of Tibet to safety.
Wow.
In Jimmy Stewart's wife's underwear.
Yeah, exactly. When Tom Slick died, a lot of the organizations that were dedicated, like you remember he had that psychic organization, they stopped researching that and just started researching like dementia research and stuff. They were
Okay.
like, wait, okay, he's gone. We don't need to worry about trying to prove telepathy exists
We
or
don't have to
whatever.
do the kooky shit anymore.
Yeah.
He's not going to check anymore.
Yeah.
But I sort of think,
Unless.
well, yeah, exactly. Maybe he's going to come
Right.
back to them in spirit form. And so, obviously, with the idea that his plane was blown up, the fact that he could have been a CIA asset, it gives another possible reason that people might have wanted to get rid of him.
Yes.
The Russians.
The Russians might have. So, has your opinion changed on how that plane crashed from the very
No.
beginning?
Still say
Still
bomb.
a bomb.
Yeah.
But I actually think it was his mum,
Yeah.
and she had said, cut it out with the expeditions, right? And,
Yeah.
And so she was punishing him.
Only way he'll learn.
Sure.
yes.
blow him up in the air. Kill his pilot.
Hey.
Only way that'll teach him.
Did that to yourself. I said stay home, massage my feet. I
Yeah.
said that.
Yep.
Instead of hunting the Yeti, an absolute travesty to your father's name, Dryhole Slick.
Yeah.
He wanted you to be an oil man, and instead you spent all of this money hunting the Yeti.
Look what you've done.
Look what you've done.
So interesting.
But in a way, I think there's something sad that people like Tom Slick, he was a billionaire, and billionaires suck. We
Yes.
don't like billionaires. But there's something about Tom Slick as a billionaire and his kind of eternal optimism that's sort of something about it I think is very charming. There's a quote from him where he says, I can't find it. But anyway, there's a quote from him in here somewhere where he's talking about the two kinds of science. And he's like, obviously, there's the good kind of science. And that's where you, through rigorous trial and error, you test and you test and you test until you come to a concrete conclusion after many years of study and research. And he's like, and then there's the adventurer's science, where some genius does something bold and crazy and skips all of that middle part to arrive at some kind of conclusion. And I think he saw himself as this kind of scientist. Obviously, he never found the Yeti or the Trinity Alp salamander or Bigfoot. And he never really achieved anything with any of his searching for cryptids in the Himalayas and in the Pacific Northwest and in New Guinea and everywhere he went. But still, somehow, you got to admire it, I
Yeah.
think. You got to admire the dedication to the cause. Tom Slick, man. What
Tom
a
Slick,
hero.
do you think that he's a spy? Or just a
I don't know.
happy-go-lucky guy looking for...
I think probably that it's more like he had the cargo operation and he was hunting Yetis and the CIA approached him and was like, while you're here, can you do this for us? And he was a billionaire, he was an oil billionaire.
Yeah.
So is Bush,
Yeah.
They're all connected. They're all part of that same sort of group. So I think there's a good chance that he worked for the CIA. I don't know if he was like a spy, so to
Yeah.
speak, but I think he definitely would have been like an asset.
He had resources that they could use.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, do you think he was a spy?
I like it as a theory.
Yeah, I mean...
I think it's exciting to imagine.
It's
I'll show a
exciting,
picture of him
but
too.
maybe it is more fun if he is just literally a guy that's just dedicated his life to finding this sort of wacky...
Yeah.
I think, you want to believe that he did dedicate. I mean, they were taking photos of the footprints and stuff. They were out there doing
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. How could he have been a spy? It seems like he was quite busy.
That's what he looked
Yeah,
like.
thank you. I was about to Google him. Tom Slick.
Tom Slick Jr.
What a guy.
Love it.
Yeah, incredible. An incredible man.
I don't know when he would have fit in all of his CIA work. You know, it seems like he was out in the field doing a lot of.
Yes.
Yeah, well, he was also like at chair meetings and like he was pretty busy. But
God, he would have loved modern times where like he could be zooming into a meeting.
Oh my God,
while on
yes.
a mountain, you know.
That would be, or because his mom didn't want him to go on the expeditions.
Yeah.
Somebody could hold up a camera
and
and
he's
show
like,
him a live feed.
left.
Yeah, exactly. Up the mountain, down the mountain, and that's the life and time of Tom Slick.
Tom Slick. I've googled it because I wanted to see more photos. And do you know there's a 1960s cartoon called Tom Slick?
Is it? But I looked that up. But is it based on him? I don't think it is.
I don't think so.
But it is the same name, and it would have been like around the time he died.
Yeah.
So-
It aired with George
yeah.
of the Jungle.
Yeah.
Like as one of the minis. The premise is freckled, grinning, all-American race car driver Tom Slick competes in various races with his trusty vehicle, the Thunderbolt Grease Slapper.
Someone
Slapper.
someone just like the name. I've just looked up in the hat, and Peter C. Kinsler from Wilmington in North Carolina. Quick fun fact: that's where Venus flytraps are from.
Whoa.
But he suggested the topic of the Pangbochi Yeti heist.
Whoa. Well, there you go.
Writing eccentric oil millionaire / CIA contractor Tom Slick wants something. That something is the hand of a supposed Yeti kept in the Pangboche monastery of Nepal. But the Buddhist monks might not sell. So he puts together a team of ragtag team. This is how he's written, and I like that.
Yeah, me too.
Including movie star Jimmy Stewart for the strangest heist you've never heard of, if the heist even happened.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you so much for that suggestion, Peter C. Kinsler.
You're welcome.
Huge.
You're welcome.
What a story.
Yeah, Tom Slick, man. What a guy. And he kind of, I think another name for him that people have, not one while he was alive, but that they use now is America's Forgotten Millionaire, because nobody really talks about him. He was
Yeah.
quite famous at the time. He was
Right.
in the papers, all of his expeditions were getting plenty of newspaper coverage and stuff. And then he died and kind of fell off the map. And I think his family kind of just sort of went inward and didn't sort of speak publicly. And kind of sort of faded away.
The Slicks disappeared.
The Slicks disappeared.
I'll say also Tate Evans suggested the topic of the mystery of the Yeti,
Oh, there you go.
which I feel like this episode
kind of covered.
yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of other Yeti stuff out there. People are still looking for
Are
it.
you coming back? Or are you sizzling
I'll come back. I'll do a whole one on the Yeti.
a whole Yeti
I'll
out?
do a whole Yeti up. Why not?
Whoa.
I always liked the Yeti the most, of all the cryptids out
Really?
there. I'm like, yeah.
Even more than the stink ape?
Gotta love the stink ape. Gotta admit, you gotta love the stink ape. Hoover Demon is good too. Yeah. There's a lot of good
I'm a
ones.
lizard man fan.
Ah, yes.
Something you got to remember about him though. He loves butterbean.
Loves a butterbean.
Yeah, he's good. I mean, there's so many good ones. I mean, even Australia's got, obviously like the thylacine, the yowie. We've got the frickin', what do you call it? It's a big dragon, big lizard. It's got a name. I forget what it is.
Me too.
But yeah, that one's good.
What about like all of the panthers out there?
Oh yeah, the Black
Oh, yeah.
Panthers are good.
Away Panther.
My mom said she saw a Black Panther once
Wow.
up near King Lake. So I don't know.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I trust your mum.
Yeah, me too. I think she probably did. The problem with the Black Panthers is that a lot of, because I don't know if you've ever seen a wallaby up in the mountains when it leaps past you and you just see its tail disappear into the bush. It kind of looks like a panther tail.
And there's feral cats as well.
Yeah,
Got
absolutely.
Pretty big.
Yeah. I really like the Scottish wildcat. That's real. It exists, but it feels kind of magical.
Really?
Because they're extremely rare. And it's like, it's a wildcat. It's its own species or whatever. But it's, there's like, I don't know, under 1,000 of them or something in
God.
in
It's
Scotland.
and which looks like a feral
Yeah,
cat.
but it's its own unique species of,
Scottish wildcat.
yeah.
Oh, that's a cute. Look at its grumpy little
Yeah,
face.
they're adorable.
Yeah, they are annoyed, aren't they? Wow.
Oh, I love you.
I also really like the Trinity Alps salamander. That's a pretty cool one. That's people saying they see in the Trinity Alps in America salamanders the size of, the giant Japanese salamander? It's like as big as a crocodile.
Oh, right, yes.
Oh, that big.
Yeah, and they see those in the American Alps or whatever, in the Trinity Alps, and there's like a lot of in the area like local cryptids that fit the description. Like I think one's they're like, oh, it's Pinky the dinosaur, and it kind of fits the description of the Trinity Alps salamander. Yeah, there's a lot of them out there.
Very cool.
Now, before we move on, Jackson, do you have time to hang around for Ben's favourite section of the show?
Absolutely. I don't know where I need to be.
That's the spirit.
Well, Jackson, it's so good. You can help us out here then.
Done.
As we thank some of our great supporters who have signed up at patreon.com/DoGoOnPod. Reminder that if you want to sign up and you're an iPhone user, if you do it inside the iPhone app, it will charge you 30% extra. So
Yeah, they consider that an in-app purchase.
Yeah.
They charge you more.
damn.
But if you do it on your desktop or on a laptop or even in a web browser, sign up through there. Then you can download the app and log in with your credentials. You don't get the sting.
That's so
You don't
funny.
get,
So
but it's only if you sign up in the app and you use Apple Pay or whatever to pay straight away.
And we obviously love Apple. I mean, all the
Of
things
course.
they've done.
And a lot of people
Grapefruit.
people listening on Apple right now. Yes, one of the all-time, probably top 3 fruits
I
of all
would say
time.
so. I would say, what's the number 3 spot? I mean, obviously apple, orange, and then
Probably
Banana.
banana.
banana. Yeah. Bananas are great, actually. I don't know why I was so disappointed
They're
there.
not my favourite, but I eat a lot of them.
I think a banana and a coffee is a real killer combo.
Yeah.
It feels really good to have.
That's enough.
Good morning.
I reckon,
Yeah.
one a day. That's one meal a day and you could survive on that.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Probably in the.
I'd add a bit of yogurt too, actually.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yogurt, banana, and a coffee.
Oh, my
I think that now
I'm
is
powerful.
all food groups covered.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say so.
All right. So yeah, if you're already signed up though on inside the Apple app before, then it won't affect you. But yeah, just a reminder on that because I was listening to another podcast this week where the host reminded his listeners that. I'm like, oh yeah, we haven't said that in a while.
Yeah.
So the way we get going on this is we start with a segment. There's a bunch of different things you can get if you're a DoGo Patreon, and they include 4 bonus episodes a month, including your great friend Adam Carnivale does a D&D campaign with us.
Hell yeah.
We also do a bonus report every month. We play games sometimes, like Jess's favorite game, Am I a Dead Woman?
Oh, yeah. You were telling me about that earlier. Sounds great.
Great game.
But yeah, there's also the Facebook group. Everyone can get involved in that. You get to vote on topics, that sort of stuff. Ad-free listening.
Yeah,
That's all.
right.
If the ads are annoying you, hey, don't worry about them. Just go to Patreon.
Get rid of them.
And yeah, but the first thing we like to do is a section of the show called Fact, Quote, or Question. Actually, that's a little jingle. Goes something like this.
Fact, quote, or question.
He always remembers the ding, Jackson.
That was beautiful.
She always remembers the sing. I think they actually took it a notch above because
For me?
because of you in the room.
Oh,
Would you believe
God.
I've never had a singing lesson?
I wouldn't. I think you're lying to me.
She's lying.
Why are
You're
you
lying.
lying?
You're right.
lying
I'm
to
classically trained.
This costs thousands.
So the way this one works is supporters on the Sydney Scheinberg Deluxe Memorial
Rest in peace.
Rest in Peace edition level or above get to give us a fact, a quote, or a question, or a brag, or a suggestion, or really whatever they like. I read 4 of them out. I don't read them out until I read them out on the show.
Yeah, okay.
So
Exciting.
I might. That's just forgiving me for stumbling,
Sure.
maybe fumbling over words, and also if they say anything really crook.
Yeah, okay. It's
But then
not on you.
That's not on me. It's on them, and also AJ,
Yeah,
the
if
editor.
AJ
If he
kept
leaves
it
it
in,
in,
yeah.
then well. So the first one comes from Stephen Edmonds, who I reckon we saw in the audience last night.
That's
Bob.
I did see Stephen.
yeah,
there.
Stephen's there.
Fantastic.
And Stephen, we did a show at the Max Watts last night.
Oh, nice.
And Stephen has given himself the title Provider of Out of Context Detail.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
And he's offering us a quote. One of the 3 titular options of the Fact, Quote, or Question segment. Writing, to quote from Wikipedia, which is some kind of website all about the Melbourne Central Business District, the eastern end of Collins Street has been known colloquially as the Paris End since the 1950s due to its numerous heritage buildings, old street trees, high-end shopping boutiques, and as the location for the first footpath cafes in the city.
Oh,
Cool.
I actually didn't know it had been called that for so long.
That's sick.
We're not dubbing it these days.
That's the first I've heard it named that.
Really?
Yeah. Is that?
I
is
think
it like
it's more
maybe
used
it's more common.
pejoratively now, right? It's a bit of a joke. the
Yeah,
Paris-
totally. Yeah,
but
yeah.
back then they would have been like, "Oh,
The Paris
they're
End.
really, come on, hey, look at this."
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've heard that, or mostly from you, to be honest. But yeah, I've heard it always said sort of, as a bit of a joke.
Yeah.
I didn't know that's
the
been around for
Paris
so
End.
long.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Stephen, for bringing closure
Yeah.
to that.
Now we know.
Now we know.
Dave, you and I. Oh no, your show's already finished. How'd you enjoy your run at the Melbourne Comedy Festival?
Had a bloody lovely time up the Paris end.
And I'm on at the Paris End right now at Spleen Bar till the 20-somethings at 8:45. Bad boy.
Bad boy, get
Whoa,
involved.
nice.
And you get to visit the Paris End. The
Paris
End. Good.
Collins.
Is Spleen Bar?
Enchanté.
No,
is that
Burke.
You're on Burke.
Oh, it's a different street. Don't worry about it.
but it's very close.
Very close.
Spleen Bar. Is that the official dive bar of the Paris end?
I think it
of
is.
Melbourne?
yeah. I mean, Paris. Yeah, I mean, they were famous for dive bars in the 20s and whatnot.
Yeah.
I'm sort of our version of Ernest Hemingway.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Great beards.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Steve. The next one comes from Cheryl Engelsman, aka the Todd keeps hurting bigger, but I'm still mum. Okay, we'll get context for that in a second. For context for you, though, Jackson, Cheryl has a big dog.
Okay, nice.
And its nickname is the Todd.
Oh, that's good.
Call it the giant Todd.
That's
The
really
giant
good. That's really good.
And Cheryl's got a brag writing, "Hey mates, the thick set Todd has put me through the ringer lately." In brackets, my Great Dane named Saoirse, aka the giant Todd, had to go to the emergency vet because I thought she was going to die from bloat. Bloat is a bog problem in large and giant breed dogs.
Probably big problem.
It says a bog.
Says a bug.
One word.
Maybe it's like
I don't know dogs, so I'm like, I guess it's just
some
like
dogs got bog
I
problem.
also
bog problem.
did not question. I was like,
I was thinking like bog, like toilet.
yeah,
like maybe it's like
it's got like a big poo in there that they've got to get surgically removed.
Bloats up or something.
But yeah, probably right. It is probably a big problem. She
Really
has
bog.
a gastropexy. Gastropexy? No, that's not.
I don't know.
How would you say that word there, Jackson?
Gastropexy?
Oh, there's an R. Yep. Gastropexy. She has a gastropexy done, which is which I think is where they tack her stomach to her side so that it can't flip if she does get bloat. It's all kind of grim, but necessary for a dog like her. She's okay now, just pooped out some cardboard she ate earlier, apparently.
Nice.
$1,000 later, which is like $10 million in dollary dues. She's back to herself now. Just a warning for any mates who have big or giant dogs. Be aware, she still listens to every episode and is awaiting some bandanas. Thanks again, mates. The giant Todd is a huge fan. Oh, yeah, we talked about that doing
Pet merch.
pet merch.
That's great.
We've not gotten around to it.
Do you think if you like blew a dog whistle on
Okay, I'm glad you added whistle to that.
would the dogs be able to hear it? Like on a pod?
A recording of
Yeah,
it.
like if I the next time I did it, like
Yeah.
plumbing the Death Star or something, it's just like
Yeah, does it
would it
capture
piss off
it?
a bunch of dogs?
Yeah, does the microphone capture that
or would
high
they not?
range?
The dogs not? I don't know.
That's an
And
interesting
do the
Something to think
question.
speakers, are they able to
Yeah.
put it out? I don't know.
Dave, you can Google that while I'm reading the
Okay.
next one, which comes from Damien of Long Island, aka resident wrestling enjoyer of the pod, offering a fact.
Okay.
Writing, I notice you guys get quite giddy whenever Australia is mentioned anywhere outside of Australia.
Yes.
That's something that's mainly just, but well, in your most increasingly,
Am I not one of you guys?
Yeah. What the hell?
yeah, you're one, but I mean, it's written like
And if
all
I'm
of us.
excited about something,
Oh, it's
you,
true,
as
yeah.
my best friend,
Yes.
are also excited about it.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
No,
what
I just
is
wanted.
incorrect in what's been said?
Well, I just tricked you into calling me your best friend. So that was the long game, and you fell right into my trap.
We all know Dave's my best friend.
Damn, dude.
Damien goes on, get ready to learn about the top 5 Australian-born wrestlers you should know about. Introducing first from Sydney, Australia, the proto-star, Kyle Fletcher, a man so unbelievably good in the ring, it's sickening.
Whoa.
A rising star that will one day be recognised as one of the greatest of all times. Wow. Up next, number 2 from Adelaide, Australia, it's Bronson Reed, a humongous heavyweight with one of the scariest finishes of the game, the tsunami.
Whoa, that sounds
He
scary.
pisses all over you.
Yeah.
That is scary.
The yellow
Force.
tsunami.
Yeah.
And he hasn't gone all day.
Yellow tsunami, they normally punch it up to golden with that sort of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
let's be
yellow's
honest.
grim.
Yeah. But anyway, the tsunami is when he leaps from the top rope and crashes down on you with all 330 lbs of his meaty body. What's 330 lbs?
I'm doing pounds to
150
kgs.
kilos.
Whoa,
I'm just on the guy's
that
wiki.
is big.
I'm on his wiki page. He is
Why? But I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Well, you can fact check me.
No.
It's not worth it now.
No, whatever.
He's a big... I just wanted to see a photo of him because he is a big unit.
God, to be humongous.
Could
Like
you
if someone said,
wrestle
oh,
guy?
he's humongous. That would be
Yeah.
cool.
Isn't there like a Mad Max character called the
Lord
Humongous?
Humongous.
Lord
Yeah,
Humongous.
that is cool.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a big boy.
Big guy.
That's a big guy. That's
a
is
good-
that 3 comedy Daves.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Triple me. Good on him.
Number 3. What did you think? This was an all-boys club? Step aside, fellas. The ladies are taking over from New Zealand, Australia. It's timeless Tony Storm, a starlet straight from the 1960s who takes down everyone in her path with flair. Chin up, tits out, and watch for the shoe is a quote.
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
And
Next.
yeah, like anyone from New Zealand, we claim them as ours. So
Yeah.
she's
yeah.
Australian.
Farlap,
Yeah.
Yes.
Lamington.
Russell Crowe.
Pavlova.
We got most of Farlap. So that's
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah,
good.
we got the heart and the skin.
Yeah.
Heart and height.
What did they get? Bones?
They got bones.
Who cares?
Who gives a shit? I'm not going to a fucking
Fucking-
museum to look at bones.
Yeah, I'll get it, fucking...
The skin's the best because it looks like it's
That's
just
a
a Farlap.
horse.
Yeah.
And the heart's cool because you go, whoa,
Oh.
that's big.
Yeah.
It is as big as Farlap.
Yeah. The bones,
Nah, good on New Zealand. I think the bones are the coolest bit, actually.
Damn.
We're trying to make ourselves feel better about losing that one. Number 4, next from Queensland, Australia, a young up-and-comer who is stealing hearts of wrestling fans everywhere. It's Harley Cameron. This multi-talented up-and-comer also sings, plays guitar, and does puppetry.
Whoa.
Whoa.
In the ring?
And people say it's all scripted. And finally, last but certainly not least, from Adelaide, Australia, a woman who stole another wrestler's son, turned him into a delinquent, made him her boyfriend, he's 25 at the time, turned him into the most hated man in wrestling, and then proceeded to slam him through the mat when he broke her heart. The woman who defeated Nia Jax, Sydney-born, at Elimination Chamber in Perth, Australia to become the current WWE Women's Champion, Rhea Bloody Ripley.
Oh,
Hell yes.
Believe it or not.
huge.
And then finally says, now get out there and watch some wrestling. Thank you so much, Damien of Long Island. Finally, Dave, did you get an answer on the whistle?
Yes, microphones can record dog whistles as they emit sounds within the audible range of microphones, even if those sounds are in the ultrasonic range that humans cannot hear.
Oh, that's exciting.
Can microphones pick this up? Ribbit.
Oh, even that low?
Yeah, I don't know.
I didn't hear it. Will you go
Yeah.
again?
Do it again. Can we get one more time?
Yeah.
I saw your mouth move, but you got to make some
Yeah,
sound.
push
Yeah.
the sound out. Use your diaphragm.
Okay.
Just
we go.
need,
Hang on,
just
hang
need
on,
one
hang
more
on.
time.
Sorry,
Just need to hear it.
Ribbit.
No.
Did you figure that
It's
out?
not coming up.
When song?
I'm not hearing. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
on the recording. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe
maybe-
if any
Hey,
listeners
text in.
Yeah.
If
Listeners
you've
or
got
their
a frog,
dogs.
if you've got a frog and like it's
Why would a
freaking out,
frog know?
I don't know. Just like because if a dog can,
Frog is such a weird.
well, no, because I'm thinking if a dog can hear really high pitch,
Oh,
a frog can probably hear really low
yeah,
pitch.
yeah.
Actually, that makes so much
That's
sense.
what I was thinking.
That sounded really random when you said it.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking.
It's like
I
it's
was
just wearing a green shirt.
yeah, no,
That's probably it,
I was
yeah.
thinking about just frogs.
Just thinking about frogs.
And
Yeah.
finally, from Dave Loring, rhymes with boring, aka Executive Director of Funny Title Abandonment, open brackets, not ongoing, close brackets, offering us a fact. Hey pals, my last few submissions have been on the lengthier side, so I'll try to keep this a bit briefer. I see this as I'm about to have to scroll. Listening to the Titchborn case this week and noting Jess's moment of acknowledging that marrying first cousins is a bit off, thought it might be of interest to know that this is still perfectly legal in Australia under the Marriage Act. You're not allowed to marry a direct sibling, ancestor, like a dead person,
Yeah, what?
or descendant, a person not born yet. But outside of that, most other family members are fair game. You're allowed to marry your cousins, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, so on. As a side note, my home state is very popular for people wanting scenic weddings. It's from Tasmania.
Tassie.
Oh, yeah, of course.
It's all adding up.
And they
As a
love to marry cousins there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like for international listeners, that is a stupid ongoing joke about
Yeah.
Tasmanians. Inbred and two heads.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't hear it as much anymore.
No,
but
it's-
it was
yeah.
big in the 90s.
My dad has a story about being on a motorbike tour with some friends around Tassie, and a couple of firefighters came into a cafe. I think they were all having a chat, and Dad said something like, "Oh, where's your other head?" And the firefighter pulls his shirt to the side, and he had a big scar on one shoulder.
That's
So just had it
awesome.
removed, and Dad was like, "That guy was awesome.
That
That guy was actually."
That was sick.
He was a bit of fun, that guy. Yeah, that bloke was great. He definitely loved my joke.
He
yeah.
was actually all right.
Yeah.
He was
For a
all right.
Tasmanian.
He was one of the all right ones.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful state.
Beautiful place.
Dave's never been and refuses to go, but I would love to go. I want to take the podcast down there, but Dave refuses
That's right. I
to
don't
cross the
hell?
Bass
I
Strait.
won't. It's treacherous. I've been to every other state and territory, but I will not go down there.
They decommissioned all the lighthouses there, so fair enough.
What the fuck?
Yeah, between the Tassie and the mainland, no lighthouses in operation.
No lighthouses, no Dave.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's the rule.
What if you crash against the rocks?
Exactly. I'd love to go there, but it needs to be lit up the whole way.
Yeah.
All right, 420 will go. He continues saying, as a side note, my home state is very popular for people wanting scenic weddings, and as a celebrant, I deal with a lot of interstate couples. When it gets to the question on the first bit of paperwork, you have to file that says, are the parties related? I often get a brief pause followed by, is this a specifically Tasmanian question? Good times. Also, I have very deliberately used paragraphs on this submission. I hope it displays as such on your side. It sure did. I probably didn't need to read that out. Bye. Thank you so much, Dave.
Do you remember what one of the quiz shows, the web series, Annie Louie, brought that up very quickly that you can marry your cousin?
Yes, because she's also a qualified celebrant.
Yeah.
I went to my cousin's wedding recently.
Both cousins.
Uh-oh.
Were you the groom?
Well, I was the groom.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And your other cousin objected.
No. It just happened to be a couple. But during the ceremony, the whole time, I'm like, I could do this, I reckon.
Be a celebrant.
I reckon I could do this.
You love love.
Have
I
a
love
crack.
love. What do you reckon?
I reckon
There's a
get
course
to
you
it,
can do,
dude.
right?
Yeah, why not?
Do you think anyone would want me to be there?
Yes,
But
dude.
here's the thing. I think you could do it, but you couldn't do your kind of awkward shtick.
Oh.
Yeah, because people want a specific. But having said that, you see so many celebrants that get up there and are like, "Time to do my tight five."
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know.
It's crazy amount of study, though. It's 6 months full time.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I looked
dude.
into it.
This is what I'll do.
Because I recently did the thing at a friend's wedding where I was the MC.
Yeah.
And then a guy who felt bad for stepped in for the 3 sentences of the legal stuff,
Yeah.
stepped aside, and then I did the rest of it. I now pronounce you.
You felt bad for him? What a sick
That
gig.
great cushy job.
Yeah.
I hate when
He
it's-
was really sizing me up, though. I think he
Yeah.
felt threatened.
There was a
by it.
tension between the two of you. I hate when a celebrant comes in and thinks it's time for them to be funny.
Yes.
Get off the stage.
Yeah.
That is one of the things I would definitely bring to the table is
Yeah.
keep it brief. In all the meetings they make you do before, it'll be
Yeah.
like, keep it brief.
Yeah. Just
Any ideas you've got? Yeah, great. Let's cut 2 of the 3.
yeah.
That's great. You won't say anything. I won't say anything, and then I'll get paid.
Yeah. But anyway, I reckon if I can get 3 pre-bookings, I'll do the course.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's not impossible.
So thank you so much to Dave, Damien, Cheryl, and Stephen. Dave, if you've got any tips, let me know. The next thing we like to do, Jackson.
So upset. I'm so upset I'm already married.
No, you could
I'd
have got
fucking book him just to make him do it. And then I'd pull out.
Yeah.
on the wedding night. I don't know. Huh. That's gifable. That was a gifable head.
Yeah.
Oh.
This is a gifable ass podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
That's
that.
okay.
Yeah.
It's true.
That means a lot.
I wouldn't say it wasn't true.
So the next thing we do, Jackson, is we thank a bunch of our supporters on the shout out level or above. Jess normally comes up with a game based on the topic of the day.
Oh, yeah. Jackson's giving them a cryptid.
Oh, okay. Easy. Done.
So how about this? We just rotate I'll do the first three. You do the next three.
Yep.
And Jackson does all the cryptids.
Okay.
Sounds great.
All right, you ready for this? We'll give you where they're from and their name, and you can just free ball your head.
Yeah, no worries.
Free ball your head.
Oh, free ball my head, dude.
You get it.
Dude, I'm across it.
And can I ask, or it doesn't matter, but are you going to go with existing ones, or are you making
I'm
up
going to
fresh
try and
ones?
do existing ones.
Okay,
I'm going to see
great.
if I've got them, if I've got enough.
Cool.
Okay.
Nice.
I think I do.
All right. From Andover. Andover, that's probably not how you say it because British names are never what they look like.
It's probably Andover.
From Andover in Great Britain,
Yeah.
it's Kareem Henry. Holy shit, Kareem's such a good name.
That's a great
amazing.
name. Incredible stuff. I'm going to go the Dobharchu, which is a kind of, I think it's like an Irish alligator, but also maybe an otter.
Ooh.
And it's got a...
It's the best combo.
It's known from a local legend and a tombstone that's near the lake where it's supposed to live.
Cool.
Jess, you, Dave, and Jackson should really start a Cozy Games company.
Yeah.
Right? You be the tester.
Yeah.
Dave comes up with the concept, and Jackson brings in the animal.
Yeah. I'll just...
It's an otter alligator. What are they doing, Dave?
Yeah, true. Great question.
Okay, they are managing the local event space, booking in like the circus comes to town.
Oh, that's good.
Honestly, Dave, you've lost your touch. I don't want to manage an event space.
No, but then folk singers come in and out, and you get to meet them and possibly marry one of the singers.
Yeah.
But if I'm 9 to 5 minimum managing an event space, how am I foraging? When am I out fishing?
It's also in a forest.
But it's also they're not
That's
coming
even
to town every day. I imagine there's a irregular events.
Yeah, mate, that's your weekend job. Your weekday job. Yeah, this. Foraging.
Okay, I'm back in.
Kareem Henry is that one I can't remember.
Dobharchu.
Dobharchu.
That's very good.
Next up from Kinglake, here in Victoria.
Where Jackson's mum saw a
Whoa.
Black Panther.
Gotta go Black Panther.
Whoa, it's Morgan.
Morgan, Black Panther. Gotta go Black Panther.
Got
or
to.
an ABC alien big cat, as they're also sometimes called.
Oh, I like that.
ABC Alien Big Cat.
Yeah.
I like that a
Always
lot.
be catting.
Always be catting.
That is wild stuff.
Morgan. From based on your email, it looks like your surname might start with R or J, or your first name might. So
Got him.
I'm just letting him know in case there's another Morgan from Kinglake. But now that I think about it, probably not. Who's a patron as well. And finally, from me, from address unknown, can only assume from deep within the fortress of the moles. Mole people are
Of course.
involved in this often. I'd love to thank for the support Louise Sharples. That is a sick name.
That's
That's
great.
really awesome, isn't it?
I'm gonna go based on the underground nature, of moles. I can't think of a mole cryptid off the top of my head, but I'll go the Mongolian death worm,
Oh, that's good.
which is a famous snake or worm.
It also sounds like a wrestling finishing move,
Yeah.
doesn't
The
it?
Mongolian death worm.
No.
It's meant to be electric, which is crazy. It kills camels at a distance.
Whoa, at a distance.
At a distance.
That
yeah.
is sick.
That's-
Do you remember that festival when the Mongolian snake worm went electric and all the folkies were like, no.
Come on,
Come
man.
on, man. All right, Bob, you got some?
Yes, I would love to thank from Christchurch in New Zealand, Benjamin McConway.
Let's go though. I think it's called the Waitoriki or Waitoriki, which is there are obviously no native otters. I don't know why I've gone through another otter, but there are no native otters in New Zealand, but there is in I think local folk belief, the idea of that there was once and that some people saw it, I think up until the 50s or 60s, called the Waitoriki or Waitoriki.
Whoa.
Otters, just as a side note, so cute.
Oh, just so. Have you ever seen that? I've only ever seen it online, but there's a zoo somewhere where there's a tiny little hole into the otter enclosure, and you can stick your finger in, and the otters will grab it.
There's an otter glory hole.
It's a zoo with an otter glory hole for your finger,
Oh my god.
or a penis, I guess, if you made sure the zookeepers weren't watching.
And they just grab
They
it.
just grab your little finger.
That is so
cute.
cute. I'm sorry.
and they hold hands while they sleep so they don't drift apart.
That's so sweet.
Stop it.
Love the otters.
Adorable.
And
Love an
otters
otter.
come up a lot. Remember the Loch Ness Monster episode?
Oh, yeah.
Otters were a big...
Yeah, a lot of people say that they're just otters.
Otters holding each other's tails. I've seen that.
The people.
Yeah.
The best. I would also love to thank from Elwood here in Victoria, Bryony Wilkinson.
All right, Victoria. What have we got? Well, let's go the Yowie.
Yes.
That's a safe bet. It's a safe bet.
That's sort of like is it ape-ish?
Well, it depends. Some people say, oh, it's just like Australian Bigfoot, but there's also I don't think very well-regarded theory that it's a koala of odd size.
Yeah, and I think it's made of chocolate and has a toy in it.
A candy in it. Yeah.
Yowie power.
Yeah.
And that's indigenous culture talks about them a long way back.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The Wurundjeri, I think, or the around Geelong area, I think because I learned a bit about that on Beer Pioneer Season 1, that was and William Buckley, who's the guy we were following the path of, he reckons he saw one.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Awesome.
And finally for me, I would like to thank from Roland Park in, I think, Kansas, in the US, Elizabeth Fessler.
Whoa.
KS, that's got to be Kansas, right?
KS?
KS, that's Kansas.
Elizabeth Fessler.
Let's go. I think this is a Kansas, or at least probably there's been a sighting of it in there. Let's go with the Thunderbird, the gigantic eagle that is sometimes seen in America.
That is sick.
And sometimes in
Thunderbird's
Mexico
sick.
too, the Thunderbird, based on Native American mythology about the Thunderbird being a gigantic eagle that chases storms or brings storms.
That's cool.
Yeah, let's go Thunderbird for that one.
I like
The
that.
Watherong, the people around the Geelong area.
Gotcha.
That's cool.
That is very cool. Dave, do you want to bring it home? Thank some
I'd
people.
love to thank from Tarneet here in Victoria. It's Michael.
Whoa. Let's go mainland thylacine. So
Mainland?
Oh yeah, obviously the thylacine, the Tassie tiger or whatever. It's like, did it survive or whatever in Tassie? But also there's been many mainland sightings of the thylacine, which people are like, that's crazy because it went extinct here thousands and thousands of years ago. It should not be on the mainland, but there are still mainland sightings of the thylacine, even in Victoria. Like in just recent memory, I think there was one with a photograph too. Maybe
There's one behind you right now.
What?
I love it. Yeah, because a lot of it's happening every day, but a lot of cool Australian animals went extinct over the last few thousand years, including like the big wombats and stuff like that.
The Diprotodont or whatever its name was. Yeah.
Man, that something you got to know about me, Jackson. I love a big wombat.
I've learned so many things I need to know about you. I cannot forget
about
them.
me, and of course the lizard man of Skateball Swamp.
I'd like to thank now from Coeur d'Alene in Idaho. Thank you, Catherine Beck.
Okay, Idaho. What the hell's happening in Idaho?
Spuds. Are there any like sentient spuds or anything like that?
Potato-based cryptid.
Sentient potato-based cryptids. Not I can think of, but let's go for another flying animal that I think is seen in the same area that I don't know if it has a specific name, but people say they see pterodactyls in the sky over America as well.
Oh,
really?
Yeah. They've got multiple different kind of local names. And in fact, there's a very famous sighting of one from cowboy times that survives in like a local newspaper where they say they chased two of them to a cave and killed them.
Whoa.
So let's go relict pterodactyls for that one.
Wow.
Sick.
Yeah.
that's awesome.
There's a lot of them out there.
I would finally like to thank from Leahy, I'm going to try to say this, in Utah.
Give me two.
It's Britta Shurtleff.
Every one of the 9 names this week
Yeah.
been top shelf.
Yeah, good name.
Absolute winners.
Michael.
All right, let's be honest.
But we know Michael's probably got an incredible surname.
Well,
just
I can
wasn't
see it.
shared.
I can see it on the email address. Starts with an S, and it's fantastic.
That's actually a great name.
I don't
That
know
is a
what's
really
happening
good
in
name.
Utah, but this is the first, when I was like, I got to think of some cryptids. This was the first one that came into my head. Let's go the Honey Island swamp monster.
Oh, that's
my
nice.
God.
It's like a Bigfoot, but it's got 3 toes and is maybe a lizard man. So let's
did
chuck
Jimmy
that out there.
Stewart maybe take
Yeah.
a couple of the toes?
Yeah, I think so.
In his wife's underwear. We know what Jimmy's into. Britta Shurtleff, thank you so much. Britta, Catherine, Michael, Elizabeth, Bryony, Benjamin, Louise, Morgan, and Kareem.
Oh, it's Lehi. That's how you say that.
Lehigh.
Lehigh Rawhide.
From the Book of Mormon.
Oh.
There you go.
Lehi is from the Book of Mormon.
Yeah, a prophet who lived in Jerusalem.
There's Bigfoots in the Book
I
of
thought
Mormon.
You know that?
You thought
I
the
hear
musical?
I'm like, yeah.
The play.
Not the musical, but the actual Book of
That's
Mormon.
what the Book of Mormon, that's what the Mormon Bible's called, the Book of Mormon.
Yeah.
That's sick. Thank you so much. And finally, the only other thing we got to do is welcome a couple of people into the Triptych Club. Dave explains this so well. Dave, can you explain what the Triptych Club is?
Well,
to
this
Jackson?
is our Hall of Fame, our clubhouse, our theatre of the mind, where we welcome people into the Triptych Club. Once you're in, you can never leave. But why would you want to leave? Because you've got about 1,000 people to hang out with in here now, which is incredible. And we have live music, we have food, we have games.
Lovely.
We have anything you want. There's a barber in at the moment if you want to get your hair done.
That's fantastic news.
Which is very, very nice. We've even got one of those weird little things where like you put your feet in and the fish come along and eat the dead stuff off your feet.
Oh, that's good.
I know a lot of people love that. I find it a bit creepy, but if you want that, just do that in the corner.
That's
It's
great.
fine.
Do it in the corner.
Do it in the corner.
And don't look at me.
Don't bring attention to yourself.
So that's a new addition. Jess always comes up with a little cocktail or food recipe to add to the
Yes.
menu based on this
What was
week's
his name
episode.
again?
Tom Slick.
Tom Slick.
What's the Tom Slick cocktail?
Yeah.
Because the Tom
Yeah,
Collins is a famous
true.
cocktail, right?
Yeah.
What's the Tom Slick?
I'm so glad you asked. It's 3 different types of oil.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
like a liqueur oil or something?
No.
Okay.
Oh, like actual
There's olive.
crude sort of.
There's a sesame.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Well, that is digestible.
and then for the coolant.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Coolant.
Is that an oil? Car oil.
Car oil.
Okay.
Whoa. Okay.
Wow, damn. It would have a kick.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
It's very. It burns.
Yeah, yeah.
But it burns so good.
No.
No.
burns so bad.
Yeah, it's very uncomfortable.
Burns so good.
Yeah.
And
And
Dave-
all the food I'm serving this week is like normal food.
Yeah.
But I've slicked up the bar and I'm going to, I shove it down. I slide it down the bar to you.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I
Is
think-
that okay for me to say that?
Yeah.
And it's pretty messy because once again, I've used the car oil.
Oh.
So you can't eat the bottom of whatever I've
No.
sent to you, but you can probably eat the top. Like if it's a burger, for example, like maybe just eat the top bun and then the ingredients.
What I'm concerned about is I think I'd be very lightheaded from the amount of fumes coming off. And when
it
the
reeks.
burger slides toward me, I'm going to be kind of like,
And you keep asking me to open the window and I won't do it.
just please.
Nah.
The more you ask, the less she's.
Yeah,
You
because I was
said-
about to.
Yeah.
I was unwinding the window, and you said, "Can you crack a window?" And I was like, "You know what? Fuck you."
Damn.
All right, so we've got 2 inductees this week. Oh, Dave also books a band for the after
Yes,
party.
always book a band in Jackson. You're never going to believe.
Yeah.
I book these bands years before I hear the topic.
Whoa.
Because you got to. That's
Yeah,
just how
yeah,
the
it makes
international
sense.
touring
That's the
circuit works.
industry.
I mean,
Yeah.
And
the
they're big names.
They got
Yeah.
festivals to do. They got stuff overseas.
course.
You're never going to believe it. But this week, performing in the Triptych Club, I have lead singer of Jefferson Airplane and Rock and Roll Hall of Fame member Grace Slick.
Oh my god!
Can you believe? What are the chances?
What are
is
the
crazy.
chances?
And he died in an airplane.
Yeah, so it's a double coincidence.
Wow.
Whoa.
This is big.
We built this city. Hit it.
All right, so we've got 2 inductees. The way this works, Jackson. Can we give Jackson a role in this? How it normally works is Dave's on stage emceeing.
Yeah.
I read out the names and then Dave hypes them up with a bit of weak wordplay, sort of bringing them in.
Yeah.
And everyone else in the club's already in there cheering along. Maybe you can just give us some woos.
Yeah, okay, I can do some woos.
You can be a vibe guy.
Yeah, I'll be a vibe
I
guy.
need support.
All right.
Woo!
So just 2
You passed your
inductees. 2 inductees this week. Are you ready, Dave?
Yes.
First up, from Caulfield North here in Melbourne. Welcome to the club and thanks for all your support, Laura Brayshaw.
More like Laura Yayshaw. That felt great. Thank you.
And finally, from Herne Hill, also here in Victoria, it's Jess Green.
Keen for Jess Green.
Yeah!
Woo!
That's some great hyping.
Thank you.
Well done.
I think I'm discovering a new talent.
Yeah, you're
Thank
a woo
you,
girl.
Jackson.
I'm going to waste it.
I'm going to waste this talent.
I'm going to waste
Just
it.
like all my other talents.
Yeah, I'm not going to waste
I'm
everything.
actually a really good orthopedic surgeon. But
Assume.
I just don't do it.
I don't do anything with it.
Welcome to the club, Jess and Laura. Make yourselves at home. Grab a Tom Slick cocktail and get ready to enjoy the work of Grace Slick.
Yeah.
Grace Slick.
What a
Wow,
chances.
what a
That's
name.
crazy.
That brings us to the end of the episode, Jackson.
Damn.
If you want to tell people about your game once more, and
Yeah.
if they miss it in the next 3 days, so like they're listening to
Shit
this
out of luck.
in 5 years' time, it's just like,
Yeah.
but they'll probably, is there a way they can look up to see what's happening?
Well, you can go to jarensoutpost.com, which is the website where we'll post, any news and stuff about it. But yeah, primarily right now, if you head to the Kickstarter in the show notes below or wherever it is, Jaren's Outpost, search it on Kickstarter. You can back the board game we've been working on. It's fun. It's good. You'll have a good time, for God's sakes.
Freaking hell.
Do me a goddamn favor and buy my... Yes.
You've done so much for them.
I've done
you
so
told them a
much
story
for you.
today.
Exactly.
And in return, what are they doing?
Yeah, haven't I
spitting in your
earned
face?
your patronage, for God's sakes?
Yes, you have.
That's what I think.
I know what I'm about to do.
Yeah, exactly. Me too.
No, I am. I'm going to definitely do that. And really appreciate you coming in here to remind me in person because I have been meaning to do it. So that brings us to the end of the episode. I'm on at the Melbourne Comedy Festival at the moment, 8:45 until the end of next week at Spleen Bar, doing my show Bad Boy. And then at the start of May, going to the Perth Comedy Festival as well, just for 2 nights only.
Oh, great. That reminds me, I'm doing one night only in Sydney coming up on May 24th. One afternoon only, actually.
Whoa.
What a time to be alive.
Huge.
We're coming around the country.
Yeah.
Follow us on all the social medias. Do go on pod. We put up clips now pretty semi-regularly, and there's a bit of fun. You might see a gifable Jess Perkins face.
Yes.
I make no promises.
No. Yeah,
You'll probably see me doing Jimmy Stewart
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I hope so.
and an impression of him.
What's she like?
Oh, come on.
thanks so much for joining us, Jackson.
Hey, thanks for having me anytime.
Hey, Dave, do you want to boot this baby home?
Thank you so much. We'll be back next week with another episode, but until then, thank you so much for listening and goodbye.
Later.
Woohoo!
If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Don't forget to sign up to our tour mailing list so we know where in the world you are and we can come and tell you when we're coming there.
Wherever we go, we always hear 6 months later, oh, you should come to Manchester. We were just in Manchester.
We were just there, but this way you'll never miss out. And don't forget to sign up, go to our Instagram, click our link tree. Very, very easy.
It means we know to come to you, and you'll also know that we're coming to you.
Yeah, we'll come to you, you come to us. Very good.
And we give you a spam-free guarantee.